Good morning. Honestly, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't know what. So yeah, we are going to continue playing our life, now and forever, with my character Kia Connolly. Hang on. There you go. Info. This is Kia. She is my character from a story that I'm working on. Her current relationships, she's friends with both of them. Best friends with Tamarack. Tamarack is the best. She's set to deferring, unassuming, and admiring for both. Because as of right now, I'm just focusing on where in her story she would be. Where we left off, she now has a phone. She got a phone last night. And texted both of them about it, so they both know she has a phone now. And I think that's about to start the first day of school. So that's the recap. Yep, that's the recap. Yeah. Oh, I do want to say I did mean to stream on Friday. I didn't end up, but I meant to, but I didn't get a chance to because things were busy. I really gotta go onto my page and be like, schedule, there's no schedule anymore. I'll try to stick with my original schedule, but like, there's no guarantee. That's that for now. Okay, I will actually start now. Did I turn on my mic? Yeah, okay, just had to double check. The sun made a pretty weak effort to rise above the clouds that morning. Before leaving your room, you'd have to get changed. But the question was, into what? It didn't matter. You grabbed whatever. Something cool for sure. You wanted to be stylish. You didn't follow trends so you could ignore them. It had to be easy to move in, totally athletic. Did you have anything cute enough for the first day? You thought so. You were in high school. It had to be mature. Your neatest and tidiest clothes would be best. That'd reflect positively on you. It should be comfortable, laid back. Nothing fancy. How fancy would be too fancy for public school? Something with personality. Okay, so Kia is either something with personality or anything cute enough for the first day. But at this point in her life, even though that is accurate, that is how she dresses, but then she just covers it up. So she's still wearing it, but then she covers it up with like a hoodie and maybe sweatpants over it, because she's no longer very comfortable displaying herself as much. I guess in a sense, she's kind of like Tamarack a little bit, where she's more nervous about presentation, but she's trying to hide. We'll go something about personality. Basically, everyone in Golden Grove had seen you a few dozen times. You weren't getting any kind of fresh start here. Still, you were going to have as much fun as you wanted. It's hard to pick an exact jacket for her to wear. Oh, I kind of like that. I might do that one. because I associate this one with a different. Well, actually, I associate it with a different one of my characters too much, which is why I try to stay away from it when I play as Kia. Okay. Eeny, meeny, miny. Catch a tiger by. What? Why am I clicking weirdly? Fee haulers make him pay $50 every day. Alright, we'll change this to. Can it be like a. Wait. I want it to be kind of muted. Saturation should be down. Whiteness. Wait, if I change the hue. Okay, hang on. Hello? Maybe. I don't think she would wear black. Okay, we'll go with this beige color. We'll go with this beige color. Head accessory. Still go with this one. Draws less attention. I'm telling you, that's where she is currently. Okay, let's see. Earrings. We'll leave the butterfly earrings. I decided that she has to have gold earrings though, because I know that, well, growing up, for me and my siblings, we had to have a certain type of gold for earrings, or we'd have like an allergic reaction, I believe it was, to certain earrings. So yeah, we'll leave the little butterflies though. Okay. There we go. But no, she's wearing like cute overalls and long socks, like overall shorts and long socks under that. That's her basic style. She wears it more later on. Later on in high school, she'll be more comfortable wearing whatever. But you know, right now she's not there. You dropped your PJs in the hamper, checking yourself out in the mirror. There. Then you left your room and stepped quietly down the stairs, noisily sprinted over the stairs, leapt downstairs, passing multiple steps at a time, dragged your heels across every step, downstairs, sleepily wobbled to the lower floor, using the staircase banister for support, simply went down to the living room, slammed your feet into each wooden step as you trampled over. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I think she's still got her energy at home. So I think she's one of these to noisily sprinted over the stairs. She ran down the stairs, leaped down the stairs. I think she's a runner. Then you crossed the creaky board where the lighter floor panels switched to darker wood. You'd officially entered the front room. You were alone. You were alone there in the living room and in the entire house. Mama had left for work not long before then, right after you'd eaten breakfast. She had a longer commute than you, and you didn't need your mama to be late in order to see you off to school, though she would have been tardy if you had wanted her there. And naturally, before Mama walked out the door, she hadn't forgotten to give her annual reminder. There's only one first day per year. Enjoy it. You giggled over Mama's typical mamaness, while fully letting that little fact of reality sink in. You'd be walking there. Your 2 feet were the only means of transportation in your possession. You decided to walk rather than ride that day. You'd use your ride to get there. Because we know she has a bike. But is she going to bike there or walk there? Because it's the first day. She's gonna go to school with her friendos, right? Wait. I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to set up my coin. Okay, flip a coin. Heads will be she goes, she walks. Heads will be she walks. No ride. It's tails. Okay, we'll try it. Your choice of wheels were a bike. It's not the same bike you came to town with. You'd long outgrown the original. But it was the only kind of ride you wanted to use, so you got in another that was right for your size. But it wasn't like you used it a lot. You just had it. That was useful sometimes for getting around. But it wasn't just for going place to place. Riding was fun. You did it because you wanted to. You adored your set of wheels. Riding was more than a hobby. It was your life. Riding was fun. The plan was to head over to school on your own, and you'd stick with it. You'd stick to it. There was a chance you'd end up leaving at the same time as Tamarack. There was a chance you'd end up leaving at the same time as Chiyu. There was a chance you'd end up leaving at the same time as Chiyu or Tamarack. You'd find Tamarack first thing. You wanted to go together, and she wouldn't leave without you. You'd find Chiyu first thing. You wanted to go together, and they wouldn't leave without you. You'd find Tamarack and Chiyu first thing. You wanted the group to go together, and they wouldn't leave without you. I'm trying to decide if she's gonna put it upon herself to be the glue that keeps them together. Yeah, okay. It'd have to be up to you. She only went out of their way to go with you if you were the one who asked them. And Tamarack sometimes liked to walk by herself, but for the first day, you were sure you could get all of you together for the trip. You packed a lunch, closed up your bag, and slipped it on over your shoulders. Then you went to greet the freezing autumn dawn. And you were instantly slapped by a howling rush of wind that got into the exposed slivers of your skin with what seemed to be heat-seeking precision. Ack! Sputtering and laughing, you fought to get the door that was shaking from the same gust locked behind you. When you felt the telltale click, you backed away. All the while, you tugged at your scarf so it stopped strangling you. Your nostrils filled with the distant scent of rain when you crossed over the stone path. Had it come and gone when you were sleeping, or was it still gathering the weight and needed to fall? It was impossible to tell. You pushed open the gate separating your yard from the neighborhood at large. As soon as you had placed a foot into the cul-de-sac, you were hit with a bigger shock to the system than a chilling breeze. Tamarack popped out from behind the bushy border of your house like it was suddenly 4 years ago and you were meeting her for the very first time. The main flaw with that comparison was that she hadn't done it on purpose. Kia? It should have been impossible for the jump scare to startle someone more than you. But there Tamarack was. Her eyes were wide, her arms taut at her sides. I didn't notice you'd come out until I heard the gate. It would have been more awkward if you caught me trying to hide in a bush, so I had to, surprise? Sorry. You could only stand there, speechless. You scowled at her, embarrassing is right, annoying fit too. You frowned at her. Surprises like that really bothered you. It was too much. You laughed. What on earth? What were you doing? Morning, Tammy. Sup? Come on, Tammy. It's not that embarrassing, he said encouragingly. Sheesh, you are too cute, Tammy. Hi? You simply waved. Wow, we've got to stop meeting like this, you joked. Wow, I sure wasn't expecting to see you like this, he said sarcastically. Did you find any good treasures down there? Morning. I be in my head sometimes. I'm like, oh, what? I often like, is this character or is this character? Is this character or a different character? The way that I gotta play this is all my characters, but like, I won't record all of them because that would be a lot. There's a plane going overhead right now. Okay, I think it's far enough away now. Reacting completely casually to her floundering could have gone two ways, diffusing the awkwardness or making the dynamic going on there even weirder. Tamarack wrinkled her nose at you, seeing the humor in the situation. Less awkward it was. You gave her a friendly grin. Of all the good things you got to enjoy living in Golden Grove, she was at the top of the list. Tamarack Bauman couldn't be described as anything other than a good thing. Unless you'd say she was an amazing person, which was true. It went quiet then, for a second too long to be normal. A frog. What? There's a frog right here under the hedge. Her arms were made glued to her torso, but she pointed a finger towards the ground. It's so close to a road, I wanted to make sure it wouldn't die or anything. A lot of frogs have declining populations. You're serious? Let me see. Can I see the frog? A frog, you say? I better check this out. Myself to make sure. Tamarack, I've got to see the frog. You were compelled to catch it. Cool, I want to look. Ew, frogs are nasty. Declining populations, Tamarack. You just wanted to look at a frog. Declining populations? Tamarack, you just wanted to look at a frog. I want to see it too. That's nice of you. Okay, then. You nodded in understanding it made perfect sense. You stepped closer, angling towards the spot she signaled out. You darted closer, zeroing in on the spot she singled out. Zeroing in on the spot she singled out, you were compelled to catch that frog. Your face puckered at the thought of a slimy beast being so nearby. Don't worry, I get it. Right, that's all there is to it. I get you, he winked. I think Kia wants to catch a frog. I think Kia's like, oh my gosh, there's a frog. Yeah, we're gonna go with that one. I can't stop you. It's your bush, and that's not my frog. She added that with a new brightness to her voice. It rang with a note of challenge. Not needing to be told twice, you went around to the side of the house and took Tamarack's place in the bush. You got down in the dirt to see that frog up close and personal. Tamarack stayed behind you, but she leaned her face towards the branches, pressing her palms over her legging-clad knees. She could manage taking a second peek. There's the frog. I think these are called cut-ins. Also, I realized recently that there's some moments that are likely, what do you call it? When the full game's out, they're going to be those CG images. I realized that. I hadn't realized that until, like, last week. I was like, oh. like when you're on the bridge in step 1 and if you throw the cashews with Tamarack, that's likely a CG image or is it? Maybe I'm just assuming things. I don't know. But if it is, then I get to be right. And if it's not, then I also get to be right. It was there, exactly as promised. Big eyes, wet skin, long legs, a frog. This is great! Look at it! Yeah, it is pretty cute. This was a nice moment to share with her. You had to thank the frog for bringing you both a bit of joy. You couldn't hold back any longer. Your hands reached for that frog. Kia! The looming giant tested the last of the frog's patience. The smooth, green creature hopped away with haste. It slipped through your fingers. Luckily, it inched towards the forest rather than the street. Tamarack was satisfied. The declining population wouldn't take another hit today. You and her straightened yourselves up after a very successful frog viewing. Tamarack scrambled away, nearly falling over in the process. She couldn't have run faster if she'd been the one under an unknown giant's inspection. Sorry, I was way too close. You straightened yourself, holding her stunned stare. That's not something you have to say sorry for. Oh, okay. A steady exhale left Tamarack's mouth. She grasped at regaining some kind of composure. The even breathing lasted just long enough for her to inhale one more time. Then Tamarack twisted her torso and head in opposite directions to check her back, switching between glancing over the left side and right side in a cycle. She had to double check that she didn't get dirty. Do I look okay? Tamarack, you're perfect. Yep, all clear. You're good. What about me? It kind of looks like you're dancing, he snickered. You giggled at her impromptu jig. You shot her a thumbs up. Seeing her worried made you frown, but you gave an okay sign. I clicked Tamarack, you're perfect. That's a very Kia thing to say, especially to her friend. Her best friend! Tamarack is the best thing. I don't even know what's funny right now. You didn't have to say it like that, but thanks. Right then, Tamarack took a minute to really look, at your first day outfit, checking out each piece and considering the whole they created. You're good too, more than good. You'll totally make an impression. She grinned, braces twinkling. Then Tamarack doubtfully offered a hug, raising her arms halfway up. It was pretty late to be part of a greeting, but she wanted to make the attempt anyway. You threw yourself around her. You lifted your arms for her to bring it in, pretending to be so inconvenienced. You gladly accepted her embrace. You accepted the gesture with an equal amount of shyness. You held up your hand for a high five instead. You lifted your palm for a low five instead. You put out your fist for a bump instead. You would have loved to accept, but you couldn't get yourself to do it. You hung your head. You scratched your head apologetically. You weren't a big fan of hugs anymore. Kia's going to dive right into that hug. Oh! In an instant, the two of you were threaded together in a tight knot. Tamarack's hold was soft and sweet, just like her. She rocked you both back and forth. That made you giggle. She'd lost some of the enthusiastic squeeze, but remained one of Golden Grove's best huggers. When it was over, Tamarack was grinning wide. Happy first day of school. It was a thoughtful attempt. Tamarack didn't have the acting skills to sell you on the idea that she believed what she was saying, but she knew you actually believed that. You smiled with enough positivity for the both of you. Oh, what if we end up in the same classes? I hope so. I'm gonna die if we don't have any classes together. Hey, don't forget, there's always good old electives. It is a happy day, Tammy. Hey, at least there's only one first day of school per year. Uh-huh. That's as you said, rolling your eyes, so I should have read it not as excited, but you know. Well, no matter what, there's only one first day of school, he said encouragingly. Are you a little glad? Are you a little glad to officially be one of the high schoolers now? All you could do was nod at her words, but you didn't do anything in response to that. But you only scratched the grass with the tip of your shoe. Oh, what if we end up in the same classes? I hope so. Me too. You and Tammy, ever a pair. Finally, she was seeing the potential you could. Tamarack perked up even more when an idea of her own came to mind. And we could sit together at lunch and share our stuff and pretend like we're on a picnic. I'm so glad there's only one break hour. Exactly. And if they had tried to split us up for that, I'd riot. You'd wanted this to be a good time, not only for you, but for Tamarack too. And now, that seemed like a reality. The two of you would hopefully make the most of this New Year's start. Are we walking together? I wanted to ask. That's what I was actually doing coming over before everything with the frog and us talking and all of that. Of course we're walking together. Do you even have to ask? Really? I was coming out here to look for you. Sure, I'd like that. Yep, that was the plan. Thank you for asking. I can do that. Yes, I will absolutely walk with you. Duh. I would have been upset if you left without me, you laughed. Oh, sorry. They're the same thing, but this one says so mad if you left without me. You bashfully shifted from side to side, giving a small nod. You jumped for joy. You sighed in relief, holding an OK sign. You switched your hand into a solid thumbs up. You shrugged in acceptance, turning your face away from her. No thanks. Sorry. Maybe some other time? I don't think I can, sorry. You slowly shook your head. You couldn't meet her wandering gaze. You weren't going to walk with her. Okay, so for Kia, I am between 3 options. Of course we're walking together. Really, I was coming out here to look for you. And yes, I will absolutely walk with you. Of course we're walking together. Yeah, of course. Hang on. I'm debating. Am I certain? I should have asked that properly. The coin said yes. My last question was, am I certain? So I guess that means yes, I'm certain. Her bag is cute. Isn't her bag cute? I know they described it in the previous part of this, and it was sitting on the table, but look at it. It's cute. It's got the brown with the pink on the inside. Great. Having you by her side was everything she needed to enter the lion's den that was high school. Except Tamarack's gaze began to wander past you, past your house, and towards the red building beyond it. Are you inviting Chiyu? They'd come if you were the one asking. Chiyu likes you. And it'd be kind of like the old days. How crazy would it be if all three of us went to school together again? I can't even remember the last time we did. But her voice faded into nothing. Whatever she wanted to express, never coming through. Despite Tamarack's quieter demeanor, she didn't make it easy for you to get away with things. That hadn't changed. She was more than willing to take the lead, whether you were ready to follow or not. When it came to her other neighbor, though, Tamarack flipped back and forth. Sometimes she didn't even want to try vocalizing her thoughts around them. Other days, she was extra stubborn in making her preferences perfectly known to Chiyu. Okay, wait. I am pausing because I was curious, right? So, like, I don't change these. At least I didn't change these. I just left them alone. But I know, yeah, I could have changed these. And, contesting is like the person who likes to be the leader. So I wonder if that bit about her still taking the lead would have been different if she was like deferring or teamworking. Yeah. I can't wait for the final game because these can shift based on how you interact with them in the first step, and I want to see. I like looking at the little small changes of things. Okay. Read that. That morning, it seemed she was going with the giving up before making an attempt strategy. Of course we gotta invite them. It's still a tradition. Alright. Yeah, I want them to come. Definitely. We couldn't not invite you. Are you sure? I'm not. If you're okay with them coming, I am too. Fine. It makes sense to do it today, but let's not make that a habit. Tammy, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Nah, let's give them some space. They probably want to be alone. That's a nice idea, but she's not gonna go slow enough to come with us. You glanced down uncomfortably. You shook your head no. With a big sigh, you shrugged. Chiyu could come if Tamarack felt like it. You nodded swiftly. That'd be perfect. You simply gave an okay sign. That's exactly what I was thinking, because that is what she was thinking. Like, she chose to, like, yeah. We're the same. Again. Oh, they're so adorable. They're adorable. I love them. Chiyu and Tamarack, the pair. Our life is trying to steal Kia from my story. Then you continue the train of twindom by giggling at the exact same time. But we better hurry. I don't want to be late. Yeah. Chiyu wasn't going to be springing out from the foliage anytime soon, but you did have an idea where they might be hiding. You and Tammy cut through the grassy aisle between your house and the Lynn's. It was the shortest path to where you needed to be. The full group had to be reunited before beginning the trip to school. You easily made it into your friend's fenceless backyard. Chio's old hideout stood tall among the actual trees that backed it. It was creakier than it used to be, and you were more likely to wind up with a splinter by climbing on it, but the fort hadn't been abandoned. Oh, if you look at it, you can see how weathered it is. Or is that just the weather? But look, there's like little bits there. And like, yeah, I don't know. Look, oh, look, there's like a little chip in the wood there. And there. Oh, this is cool. Though something around had been discarded. Laying carelessly in a pile of leaves underneath the tower, you could spot a black and yellow gym bag. A bandana was tied in a knot around the strap. And on the top level of the structure laid the bag's owner in as much of a heap. Chio was holed away in the child's play place they could barely fit in. From the knee down, their legs hung lifelessly out of the entry hole. So they're like laying here, and their legs are dangling there. That's what it sounds like. You gotta visualize it. I'm so great at visualization. I'm sorry. Their dark gray jeans and matching colored sneakers made it look as if a sheet of dark rain was pouring over the edge. You and Tamarack shared a side glance. Then simultaneously, you moved your silent stares to the motionless lump once more. Morning. Oh, Autumn, guess who? Hey, Autumn, it's Kia and Tamarack. We've come to get you. Autumn, I know you know we're down here. Seriously, you had to have heard us coming, you groaned. Come on, time to leave, he said, clapping your hands. Wow, how nice to see you, even if it's only the lower third, he joked. Were you ever planning on coming down from there? What's up, Autumn? You stood there powerlessly. She was ignoring you two on purpose. You went straight to the tower and gave it a swift kick. You approached the tower and tugged on the rope, poised to climb if need be. You got closer and knocked on the tower wall. This one right here is Paisley. It's Paisley, and it's probably, if I started playing as Paisley, that's probably what she would do when she first sees the tower too, so then it'd be a continuation. But Paisley's working on her anger and her patience, okay? But I don't even think that would be her being angry. That would just be her like, hey, we're here. Pay attention. Don't ignore us. Oh man, I love Paisley. I love my characters so much. This game reminds me how much I love my characters. And I don't know how to better express that. Like, when I'm playing this game, I just want to think about fleshing out my characters more and like putting them in these situations. Like, literally the other day at work, I was like, I had a bit of free time, so I started plotting out more playthrough, and like really considering how my character Miles, how his interactions with each of them would go. I was like really like, actually if I think harder about it. Yeah, I did that. And I don't know, we don't have all of the moments in step 1 yet, because the full game's not out. But all of the names of them have been announced, so I was like getting the names of them and like, based on the names, I put these in an order. Okay, anyways, back to the scene. He is definitely gonna be like, we've come to get you. Yeah, Yeah. Hi, good morning. No one's home. Tamarack settled her hands on her hips with a sigh. Rather than being dissuaded, Chiyo's own stubbornness was feeding into hers. Yeah, that was basically what you'd been expecting. Clearly, Chiyo needed further convincing. We can see you. If no one is home, who said no one's home, huh? Alright, goodbye, you said while you feigned leaving. Don't make me come up there to you. I'll do it. Can't you come down and talk to us? Please? Chiolette, please come down from your balcony. Forget it, Tammy. We can go without them, you winked. You shook the fort. You lifted yourself onto the first rung of the wall. You leaned against the fort, ready for the long haul. You chucked a pebble at them. You stayed planted there. You could wait in Chiyo's backyard forever. But oh well. You shrugged and noisily walked away. Yeah, I think he was gonna ask. No games, no jokes. You only wanted their company for the morning. Chiyo lifted their head, unable to dismiss you completely. What they saw when they did was the complete earnestness in your features. They instantly cut off the energy they'd expended. I don't know why that word was hard for me to read. Expended is such a common word. They instantly cut off the energy they'd expended to raise their head, and it dropped down with a dull thud. Then a long, low grumble drifted from the top of the tower. This wasn't gonna go their way no matter what. Who allowed you people on my property? You did? Will you quit it? I'm not gonna let any of us be late on the first day of school. Things were getting desperate, then the clock was ticking. I read that right? And the clock was getting desperate then, and the clock was ticking. I missed the word and. I knew I read that sentence wrong. You are going to get off of that. When all else failed, she always had one option at her disposal: throwing things. Tamarack picked up an acorn and tossed it at Chiyo's vulnerable legs. It made contact, bouncing weakly off their left calf. This was an assault, purely in the goal of annoyance, and bother Chiyo it did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, hang on. I know that technically that's not a bad word, but I was told growing up that it was a bad word. So to me, I'm sorry, I'm gonna censor stuff. Sorry, I gotta get back into reading now. I pulled myself out too much. What is with you and throwing stuff? It works. I don't think I said that right. It works. Well, it works. Anyways, she was already poised with a fresh twig in hand, daring Chiyo to give her a reason to toss it. In that moment, Tamarack had become fearless. She would not hesitate. It was incredible. There's a lot of stuff down here. I won't run out of ammo for 100 years. Yeah, and school will be over by then. So, I guess that's it? You're not coming? No, I'm going. They were serious. Hooray! It wasn't so strange either. Chiyu didn't want to go to didn't want to go to school, obviously, but they also didn't want to keep ignoring their neighbors. That wasn't like them. Kind of. If it was some other random classmate who showed up, they would have pretended not to hear them for eternity. Except Chiyu didn't climb down. Jumping also wasn't their choice. They just sort of let their bodies slip forward, inch by inch, until gravity took over and they plummeted out of the doorless entryway. The way I jumped at the sound effect, because I just wasn't expecting it. I was like, what? Oof. What's that saying? You know how there's like those names that go with the word? Like there's Debbie Downer and there's Negative Nancy and what's the one with laughing? I feel like it was like, maybe that was just someone I went to school with who was called that. Like I feel like there was like Laffy Kathy, but I don't know if that's actually the phrase or not. But you know, the end sounds sound more similar than the beginning sound. But low-key. Oh, that's me. Whatever the phrase is. Autumn's feet hit the ground first. There was no attempt to catch the weight of their. I can read. There was no attempt to catch the weight of their own body. Their knees bent, their torso curled, and they landed in a ball. A rim of white faux fur hid their downturned face. Their hood was up. Notebook pages fluttered through the air. Chiyu's method of descent had carelessly dragged the papers down with them. They'd already been discarded across the floor of the fort. Excuse me. When each one came to rest on the ground around them, Chiyu slowly unfurled. In the same motion, they tugged the hood off. They stood with perfect poise, simply to show they could. Despite their usual flopping around, Chiyu was still a trained dancer. But you'd gotten your first clear look at their face the whole day. Having that aloof expression directed your way was another positive you could point to about the place you lived in. Autumn was one of your favorite people. They lifted their hands vaguely towards the sky, closing their eyes. I am here. Hi again. Hello, and I think you misplaced some papers. Thanks, Chiyu. You meant it. Took you long enough. You pointed straight at the papers on the grass. Great. You're being sarcastic, clearly. I'm glad. I missed you. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, you joked. You were so dramatic. Already dropping papers, huh? You applauded their grand arrival. You rolled your eyes. Chiyu could be so obnoxious. I think you lost something? You waved. Your gaze drifted to the papers around Chiyu's feet. Yeah, there they were. This just made me realize that I might be reading these in the wrong order. I always go down and into the next category, but is it supposed to be left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right? Because if so, my bad. Okay. 1 second. Sorry. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay. Okay. Kia's either gonna say hi or she's gonna say thanks, cause it's Kia. Rowdy is probably very accurate for her, to be honest. I looked up what Rowdy meant. Okay, I looked up what Rowdy meant. Was it yesterday? The day before yesterday? And Rowdy is like someone who's loud, and I forget the rest of the definition, but I was like, oh yeah. Hello, and I think you dropped some papers. Geo dropped their hands to their sides again. Their mouth remained in a neutral line, the absolute lowest effort expression possible. There was a brightness sparkling through their dark irises. For some reason, I thought I missed a word, but that's why I hesitated. I was like, was there a word I missed? I didn't miss a word. You stretched your arms nice and big for a hello hug. You held up an arm, showing you were open to a hug. You swallowed, then lifted your hands, vaguely gesturing for a hug. You gave their shoulder a pat. You gave them a playful smack on the arm. You gave them a friendly shove. You shot finger guns their way. You motioned for a high five. You folded your arms casually. You turned your face away. Hang on, I realize I haven't saved it all. Let me save. I probably could have just saved there, but I didn't. Don't mind me. Oh, I know what buttons to press when I do things. Okay. Yeah, these two are Kia's favorite people. No. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, there we go. There we go. I can do things. Anyways, these are Kia's favorite people, so she's gonna give them both big hugs, because that's Kia's energy is Kia's energy. She's going to shrink her energy at school, but they're not at school right now. So she's gonna stretch her arms nice and big for a hello hug. Chiu clocked your offer and smiled, wide and leisurely. Slowly, they lifted onto their tiptoes and gradually began to lean forward. Here they went. Then, Chiu promptly toppled over into your awaiting embrace. Oof! You caught the full weight of the ragdoll suddenly in your care, gripping tight around their narrow frame. Chiu's arms dangled idly instead of hugging back. Having their entire body pressing into you was more than enough to bring them in close. They rested their chest and cheek against your shoulder. The both of you were at risk of collapsing into a huge heap any second. I wonder if that would be different if Kia wasn't short. You know? Because I think if I recall, Chiu's average height and Kia's short. Yeah, so I wonder if height affects that. I mean, it probably does, right? Because if you're taller than Chiu, then then them falling into you is less likely to topple you over, right? Soon Autumn shrugged himself off, the same way they might have done with an oversized jacket, except you'd been the one wearing them. Tamarack chimed in with a strange noise. Unintentionally, she wound up being a bit of a third wheel in the wake of mostly Chiu's antics. Keen and I are going to school together. You can come too if you go now. While she might have begun uneasily, Tamarack found her footing by the end. Oh my gosh. There was no doubt in her mind Chiu would accept. She could even give an ultimatum. Though, considering what happened a second ago, she had a solid base of evidence for her theory. Chiu's typical blank stare met Tamarack's rare bold one. Leaning their weight onto one foot, they popped a hip out to the side. It's not like I would have said no. Wow, Chiu had their jokes. It was done. Tamarack could breathe a subtle sigh of relief. She acted tough because you were there. Having someone she trusted on her side was a confidence booster. But Chiu was autumn air, frosty and untouchable. You had to brace yourself for it, or build up a tolerance. And Tamarack was far more sensitive to the cold than she had been as a kid. So that was the status quo of things on Acorn Road, Oregon, USA, distance, uncertainty, and tension. Tamarack Bauman and Chiu Lin were the same age. They went to the same school. They lived on the same street, and they had the same favorite season, fall. But they had different personalities, different interests, different priorities, and different social circles. Well, besides you. An unspoken shift happened between them as Chiu and Tamarack changed themselves. It was something only felt, only silently acknowledged in your own mind. Chiu and Tamarack weren't friends. It'd been years since either of them called the other that, and the only time they attempted to spend time together were odd occasions, like the first day of school, for example. You couldn't pretend it wasn't true, regardless of if it hadn't been said right to your face. The cul-de-sac kids, the first group you'd ever made in Golden Grove, had broken up. It was weird for sure, the way their entire friendship disappeared, and nobody even talked about it. Bro, it's gonna be a little painful to play this as Ryan. This is literally Ryan's story. I'm sorry. I gotta think about what am I thinking about my characters? Yeah, like, I don't know if it counts as spoiler or not for a story that is not coming soon, but coming eventually. But yeah, Ryan's best friends stopped being friends. Though, in Ryan's case, one of them he ended up hanging out with more than the other after that. Like, he's still friends with both of them, but it's like distant friends at best with one of them. Not that he like chose a side, it just like kind of happened that way. But it's also in part they were bad at communicating. Okay, so like the one, I don't even know if I should be giving names or not. Anyways, it's just that the issue is unclear. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. But also around that same time, Ryan's parents got divorced, and also he didn't have a great time in relationships. It was a hard time for Ryan. Oh, man. Man. Okay. It was weird for sure. The way their entire friendship disappeared and nobody even talked about it. But life just kept going all the time. There never was a specific moment when it made sense to say, "Hey, I noticed you're not buddies with our other neighbor anymore." Especially because you knew both of them well enough to understand why it was the way it was. Maybe one day you'd talk about the bond they used to have. And even if you didn't, they could never be strangers. All of you were always neighbors. If worse came to worse, they'd be there for one another. And for you too. Oh my gosh. I just forget that there's sound effects, so then when they happen, I'm like, ah! But I also think I probably have them loud. Yeah, let's just turn it down just a little bit. I want to be able to hear them, but I also get startled. Okay. Without another word, Chiu trudged around the support beams of the fort to fetch their stuff. They didn't so much as glance at the papers their movement kicked about, much less pause to pick them up. A familiar smell of earth tickled your nose when Chiu dug their gym bag out from a pile of leaves, the scent of forest expeditions, treasure hunting, and hide-and-seek. Nothing related to today's plans. Chiu simply slung the pack across their back, then returned to the front. And again, the pages were ignored. As a kid, Chiu earnestly never noticed when they'd lost something. As a teenager, that had become a selective ignorance. That quirk was one more point of friction between the former friends. Gripping the strap of her bag, Tamarack took on the thankless task of pointing it out. Chiu had already done the unusual by agreeing to walk with her to school. Maybe she thought she'd have more luck today. Chiu, the papers? I dropped them. You've seen it before. You'll see it again. Yeah, but it looks like a lot is written on those. What if there's important reminders? You should keep them. Chiu passed her by, physically dismissing her words. If the papers reminding me of something go away, then me remembering it wasn't meant to be. I release myself from the burden of fighting against fate. Be free, my children. They added while flipping backwards to flutter their fingers in front of Tamarack's face. She turned her cheek to them with a serious side-eye. More like belittle. Tamarack hissed. That was the last of the one-sided conversation. She wouldn't try to reason with that logic. It seemed painfully pointless. It seemed that way, probably because it was. Chiu wasn't going to be moved by any argument Tamarack made. You knew it, she knew it, Chiu knew it. They'd concluded months ago that they'd spent enough of their life gathering those lost pages already. I got it. Fine. I will pick them up because I care about keeping the forest clean. You're way too irresponsible. Well, you tried. Be free! Forget it, Tammy. Sighing, you went to get the papers. You were getting real tired of this. All right, I'll go throw away that garbage, you teased. It was fine. You'd get them. You went to grab Chiu's notes. It was something you were happy to do for them. Then they're mine now. You went to snatch up the notes. You grumbled under your breath as you picked up Chiu's trash. You loudly repeated how much Chiu sucked while you got their dumb papers. You just let it be. Shyly, you gathered the pages. What else could you do? Yeah, I'm just realizing that, like, Paisley's a very angry person, so playing this game as Paisley's gonna be kind of... It's gonna be painful for me, because I don't want to not be either of their friends at any point, but it's actually kind of likely for Paisley because she's got her own issues of like, one of Paisley's problems that she's getting better at, but she gets angry about things that are not in her control and it makes her upset. And then she also though gets upset if people don't understand why she's upset, but she also doesn't want to explain why she's upset because it should be obvious. Yeah. Oh yeah, Paisley's funny. Paisley's great. Oh my gosh, I love Paisley. Sorry, I see this one, and again, I have a character named Frankie. I don't talk about him as much, but I think this is a Frankie option. Be free! Frankie's a different kind of mess. We'll worry about that later. Okay, Kia's got it. She's going to announce that she's got it. She's like, don't you two worry, don't you two fight, I will get the papers. And so, you went to the base of the fort. Slowly, with your back completely turned to Chiyu and Tamarack, you took each page into your hands. Naturally, in times like those, you thought back to your first meeting with Chiyu. You'd help them pick up pages then too. Only then, Chiyu insisted they never lose things. Yeah, they'd given up trying to sell that one. The pages are returned to their owner. You stuck the pages into your own bag. Chiyu didn't want them. You stuck the pages into your own bag, finders keepers. Kia's going to see if Chiyu actually does want the pages. Like, sure, they said they didn't, but Kia's going to be like, are you sure? Here you go. I stacked them all for you. Now you can skip the part where you have to pick them up. You stood, turned, and stalled. Chiyu's face was pointed away, looking towards their house. They had their right hand on their hip, and the left was lifted. Their palm was open, waiting for you to return their papers into it. You hadn't even said anything yet. In a big, showy motion that flipped the ends of their hair, Chiyu swept their face towards you. They were smiling, extremely smugly. However, it couldn't qualify as a true smirk. There was too much earnest delight behind it. Rather than carelessness, it spoke to the level of trust. You were willing to go out of your way for Chiyu, and they were willing to accept that. It was something you'd come to understand about Chiyu's life. How much of a difference it made not to be bogged down by reminders you couldn't properly keep a hold on. What could seem like a minor inconvenience to an outsider was a constant struggle for them. It was why you never had and never would stop helping out, no matter how many times you had to. Chiyu took the stack from your hands. Thanks, Kia. Now it was done. Let's get out of here. Chiyu was not getting their bike then. But they never did like pushing the bike around or even going at a leisurely pace. It wasn't worth it to them with Tamarack walking. Tamarack and Chiyu went ahead while you made a quick stop to grab... Oh, she did decide to grab her bike? I forgot about that. I was like, yeah, she's walking too. See, I've already forgotten the things that I've selected. And that's why we record while we play, so that later we'll be like, is that different? Did we do something different? It's not even going to be in here. Yeah. Anyways, you're grouped at the center of the cul-de-sac. Then you took Tammy's hand in yours. You silently offered a hand for Tammy to take. You latched on to Tammy's sleeve. You scooched over to be right next to Tammy. You kept a good amount of space between you and Tamarack. You took hold of Autumn's hand. You quietly held your out. See, you're probably noticing that for some reason when I read, I jump around in the part, like, like over here, I read right, but it wasn't there yet. We were still at scooched. Now over here, I was like around here and I read out. I don't know why I do that. It happens though. You quietly held your hand out to Autumn. You grabbed Autumn's extra long sleeve. You settled in right by Autumn's side. You put distance between you and Chiyu. You situated yourself perfectly in the center between Autumn and Tammy. You kept a good amount of space between you and them. You were ready. Yeah. Anyways, Kia's going to ride her bike right in between them. At whatever pace they're walking. She's right there. There. Everything was as it should be, with both your neighbors by your sides. Tamarack smiled softly at your companionable attitude, and Chiyu accepted your presence just as easily. It was the... yeah, I can't even remind to change her to walking anyway. It was then that you sat together. You left the old neighborhood behind. Your first day as a high schooler was waiting on the horizon. Soon, you three passed by the Murray house. That yellow one with the fence Rin had nearly outgrown. Rin took his own front street into town. He didn't come back here. Some mornings you ran into him part way to school. Most times you didn't. These ever-rolling hills outside the cul-de-sac reminded you of your first day of school. You'd been a little whirlwind back then. Tamarack and Chiyu had been there, riding the same high. Seemed like your attitude about this would never change, no matter how many times you'd go through it. You glanced over at the people with you. Chiyu Lin and Tamarack Bauman. That part wasn't different either. Well, besides the obvious fact that those two acted differently as teenagers. Tamarack's steps were short and mini. Tamarack's steps were short and mini, a stuttering motorboat trying not to be swept away by the current. Chiyu simply rode the waves. They wandered along lazily. The swirling arch of Main Street rose in the distance. You'd made it out of the neighborhoods. Rolling along the sidewalk, you got a glimpse of your own reflection in the store windows. The shops glowed from within, eager for a new day. Your face was just as bright. From there, you took a turn into the Golden Grove Park. Using that to cut straight through town was the fastest way of getting to the middle high school building. It was bustling. Between the rows of trees, you could spot silhouettes of locals moving about. Elderly residents were on morning strolls, trying to stay spry at their elevated ages. Less old, but still fully grown people were on their way to work or taking their dogs out for a quick walk. And then there were more teenagers like you, school-bound. Nobody got in each other's way. This park was full of loops and alternate paths to get around. If you could see the park from a bird's eye view, you'd bet it looked like a tree itself. The roads created a dark wood trunk and branches. Leaves of normal-sized, real trees would mesh together into the foliage of a single massive tree. You chatted about what might be ahead of you. The park was a place of peace for Golden Grovers, or whatever you call them, a break for the mind and the senses. It was definitely your last moment of calm before the real excitement. And then you flinched. A hefty drop of water splattered on your sleeve. It seeped in deep. You felt its dampness against your skin. Okay, there was the answer to what you'd wondered since first coming outside. The rain hadn't come yet. It'd been building this whole time, and now it was ready. You did love the rain a lot, but even you thought this was bad timing. You loved the rain anytime, anywhere. What a good omen. You loved the rain anytime, anywhere, and you were gonna miss it being stuck inside. You could only hope a real storm would sweep through. Great. You hated the rain. This was gonna ruin your day. Well, as long as there wasn't any thunder and lightning, it was fine. It better not start storming with thunder and lightning. Rain was bad enough already. Now, wouldn't it have been a problem if you weren't trying to get somewhere? It wasn't a big deal to you. It rained so much in Oregon. How sad. Rain always brought you down. This was about to be a disaster. You couldn't stand getting drenched. I can't remember if I said that Kia loves storms, but I feel like that's the one. Because I feel like she's going to be stuck inside missing the rain, or she hopes a storm comes through. I don't know why I feel like she's a person who likes storms. Like, I don't know. Like, playing this game, I've been like, oh wow, Kia likes horror and scary, spooky stuff and storms, apparently. But she's just such positive energy, though. But the relaxed atmosphere dissolved in water. Around you, parkgoers scrambled for cover under canopies or made a break for the shops of Main Street. Tamarack let out a high-pitched yelp. It shook the park. You swore a couple of droplets burst mid-air from the vibration. Rain thumped against her head and again and again. It was a bold, sparkling target. She tore open the flap of her messenger bag and dug around frantically. Tamarack would have an umbrella in preparation for something like this. You were positive on that. Autumn merely tugged the hood over their head. You couldn't come up with a single memory of Chew struggling with the storm. An event like this was not going to be the first. They raised their arm towards the open sky. Hey, when it rains, it pours. I'm not gonna let this make me a total mess. She was absolutely drenched, not to show up at school. Determined. Oh my gosh, I can drenched. What? Where did I get that from? She was absolutely determined not to show up at school looking like a drowned puppy. Some bad weather wouldn't defeat her. Tamarack grabbed hold of what she'd been so desperately searching for. Just in time, her bangs were beginning to stick to her slick forehead. She popped open a pastel pink umbrella. Its lacy trim matched the edge of her shirt. Letting out a sigh, Tamarack pressed the handle close to her chest. She was amazing. That scene could have been a Victorian-era painting come to life. Get over here, Kia, before you get wetter. This is a bad time to play in the rain. You dashed under Tamarack's umbrella. Head down, you shuffled under Tamarack's umbrella. You shook your head and took a step back. You couldn't do that. You shook your head, taking a step forward. You didn't want to get in her way. You had an umbrella too. You had an umbrella in your school bag too. You got that open instead. You had an umbrella in your school bag too. You gestured for Chew to share it with you instead. You did have an umbrella, but there was no way you could hold that. You could hold that and your bike. You pushed your headband down more. Hopefully it wouldn't blow away in the wind. Oh, hey, look, they keep tagging. She was wearing a headband. I probably feel like I should have given her the one with the bow instead, but I think that this one is good for the first day of school. You tried to protect yourself by putting your bag over your head. You wrapped your arms over the top of your head. You didn't bother doing anything. Okay. So some good points have been brought up. Point A, she's on her bike. It's funny. I think Kia is the type of person who would put her bag or her arms over her head if she was trying to protect herself, but I think with her bike, she's going to be like, oh, Tammy, don't worry about it. Tammy, don't worry about it. The way I don't know where my other saves start, and I'm like, I don't want to like show off all my saves again. That's so embarrassing. um, what was I doing? Right, I gotta choose one of these. I think I'll try this one, and then we'll see what happens. I'll try this one. Okay. Yeah, I have an umbrella, but, you know, I'm on my bike. Oh, okay. Eyes closed, Chiyu gave a massive shrug. Dang, guess this means it's time for your favorite thing. They opened one eye as they lifted a single half of their lips. You can borrow my jacket if you've gotta. I don't need a hood that much. Oh. Also, LOL, is this a scarf? That makes more sense. I was reading this as like a really fuzzy collar, but I realized that they mentioned scarf earlier. Oh, wow. Wow, what a kind offer. Oh my gosh. You lifted your chin but held out your hand. Fine, but it wasn't your favorite thing. You didn't want Chiyu to have nothing, but Chiyu's jacket? You nodded. You accepted the offer gladly. That was your favorite thing. That was better than nothing. You gave the okay. You waved a hand. You couldn't take their jacket. You shook your head. No, no, no. Okay. The question here is, would she then be able to give her an umbrella? because like that's Chiyu's protection from the rain. Yeah, Kiyo's just like, it's me versus the rain. I think that's the kind of person Kia is. I don't think she'll accept the jacket. Like, if it was a slightly different circumstance, maybe. But I think she's like, it's okay. It's okay. It is like, you know, like sometimes though, like, like, your friends have like their typical thing and you want to, right? Like, you're offering, see now, that's probably more a me thing. Or, well, one moment. I said I didn't want to show off all my saves again, okay? I said I didn't want to do that. So, oh wait, that one was completely clear. That's great. I had nothing to fear. Hang on, I'm gonna put it back on the screen. Yeah, literally tab 9 is empty, and I didn't think it would be. I didn't check all the way through, but tab 10 only has one save there. Anyways, I don't know. Okay, I guess this is what I know. I said this, and then I was like, but I'm trying to be more not rewinding when I do this. But the coin said, okay, we're just gonna I'm gonna take a quick look, and then if I stick with it, I'll read it. But so it's gonna be silent for a second, I guess, because I'm gonna skim it. I'm gonna skim it real quick and decide. I gotta decide. I know, it was really silent. It was really silent because I was skimming it. I was skimming it. Wait. I didn't decide anything. The coin is saying again, the coin thinks that we should accept the jacket. I'm gonna get a second opinion, aka a second coin. Cause sometimes you gotta phone multiple friends. Wait, I didn't ask the question, coin. I didn't ask you if you're agreeing with that one or if which one you think. We're going to ask you which option. Which option should we go with? Okay. 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 I did 3 coins because you know what they say, the best 2 out of 3. And Kia's going to not take the jacket. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Wait, should I have... Okay, give me 2 seconds. I know, I get stuck so easily. Hang on. I just wanted to see if I went far enough. Okay. No. Okay. Yeah, we're going to continue on actually now. See, it's always things like this. I get stuck on these simplest options. Because, like I said, I could see it in a different situation, her actually accepting it, but, like, if she's not gonna, I don't know, okay. It's okay. I saved here, right? I saved here. So if I change my mind, I can just reload and do the opposite one. That's what I gotta tell myself. Huh? Alright. She adjusted the best jacket over their shoulders. It'd be sticking with them. Let's see who gets there first. She told me when she's on her bike. Wow, are we having such a fun day? He spoke with great cheer. Are you sure we can't go home? Who thinks today's gonna be a pain? Why couldn't an adult have driven us? The weatherman is a liar. You dramatically pointed ahead. You had to hurry. You'd have to enjoy this as much as possible. You wish the adult could have driven you today. You sighed. Time to go. If you could, you'd stay out there forever. Oh. I'm debating between if you could, you'd stay out there forever. Let's see who gets there first. And we're having such a fun day. Oh, and the weatherman is a liar, but I don't think she's like bothered by it. So it's like maybe she wouldn't say it because she's fine with the rain. So let's see who gets there first, or if you could, you'd stay out there forever. Only because I think at this point, Kia is slightly better at reading people. Slightly better. So she's like, well, even though I'm loving this, I don't... Tammy's not extremely excited about the rain. But are they actually going to race her if she tries to race? But also she's on her bike, and that's like an unfair advantage, isn't it? Oh, let's see. Fine, let's go. No! You floated the rest of the way to school. By the time you arrived, the rain was coming down in in sheets. The world blurred, obscured by a constant stream of water. It was really funny. I'm sorry. We're thinking about Kia being excited to go to school because she does not have a great time at school. But you know, people can like being in a place, and even if they don't. Anyways, hard edges seemed to flicker back and forth as drop after drop exploded against them. It made your school of 3 years look otherworldly. The absolute crowd of people gathering on the campus added to that fact. Hundreds of teens had to get in there, and the weather beat against them as easily as anything else. Some students pushed and cursed their way through this mess, while others laughed and skipped in puddles. Hilariously, you couldn't head directly inside. You needed a place to lock up your bike, or it wouldn't be there when the last bell rang. Autumn's choice not to haul their bike along with them worked out more than they could have realized. Tamarack used her umbrella to defend you while you were busy. She didn't have to be asked. Getting a tiny lock, with its even tinier locking arm part things to fit together with soaking wet hands, was a chore. Chiyu held your ride. They made sure it didn't decide to fall on top of you as you tried to take care of it. They're such good friends. Tamarack and Chiyu for the win, guys. But finally it clicked into place. What a wonderful feeling. I'm ready, let's go. As if she rejected both of their offers to keep her dry in the first place, and then there they were. Excuse me. Now you could join the mob making its way into the building. You slammed your palms into the big metal button that opened the door, alongside Chiyu and Tamarack, plus a bunch of kids you couldn't name. You entered the school. But you weren't safe yet. You had to get out of the way. More students desperate to get in were on your heels. Somehow you were going to have to navigate the crowd carefully. Hundreds of shoes had dragged in the weather with them. Oh, okay. I had to process the sentence. I was like, what is this? What is this saying? Hundreds of shoes had dragged in the weather with them already. Dirt and dead leaves mixed with water to create the world's worst slip and slide across 10 feet of hallway. You managed to glide into a gap between lockers without busting your face open. Nearby, Tamarack sighed. She shut her umbrella with a swift click. The damp conditions meant her hair had started to frizz into a puffball. It was a lot like when she was in elementary school. We did it! You got through okay too. They flicked their hood off again. I didn't even want to be here today. I told everyone that, and look what's happened. Their arms rose high. It showed off how soaked they were. Mom hates when I get wet and cold. She's sure gonna regret not letting me stay in my room for the rest of my life now. You'd gotten out of the rain, but the door kept getting flung open so often that the hallway wasn't any warmer than outside. It chilled you to the bone. Side note, I think the only reason Kia has an umbrella is that it probably never leaves her bag. I don't think Kia is a person who remembers to bring an umbrella, unless it's always in her bag. How often does she use it? That is the question. I'm sorry. And thinking of the door never being closed more than 30 seconds, someone else barreled through. A burst of green appeared against a backsplash of autumn oranges, reds, and yellows. Combat boots, screeched to a stop. An ivy-covered dress swished. Serenity Shaw, 8th grader extraordinaire, had arrived. Oh, look at her! Look, she's got little green locks. Oh, this is like a... No, it's a headband. Not a headband. Like a scarf. Oh, maybe it's actually a hat, but... I read this. Hi, Serenity. Hey, Tamarack. The two reached for each other, linking hands. Tamarack and Serenity were a pair in many ways. For one, they both had unusually long names. It'd be easy to cut them short. Many students did. So everyone was like, how do you cut Serenity short? I guess you would shorten it to Rin. I guess that's how you would shorten Serenity. I was like, how do you, you know, like, it's not like, I guess you could also like shorten it to like Aaron or Rinny or, yeah, that's what I got. Granted, I didn't initially know how you would shorten Tamarack, but now I know. Tama, Tammy, Mara. So yeah, okay, it's fair. Fair. But Tamarack and Serenity said their friend's full name every time. They were also girls, sort of. Serenity was a demigirl. She, her, and they, them were good. They switched pronouns pretty much every sentence. Then they grinned your way. Hey! She was one of Tamarack's friends. You never hung out. They were one of Tamarack's friends. You thought she was okay. She was one of Tamarack's friends. You thought they were a bother. They were your friend. She was close to Tamarack, too. I'm gonna click this one. Wait. I feel like if Tamarack has a friend and Kia sees herself as Tamarack's best friend, she's gonna be friends with all of Tamarack's friends. Or any of Tamarack's closest friends, I should say. I mean, like, why not, right? Hi, Serenity. I can't believe I'm friends with high schoolers. That meant Tamarack and you, not you. Though she was definitely aware of who they were. Everybody was. With a smile, Serenity paid respects to the star of Riverview's halls. Despite never being close, Chiyu had known of Serenity's existence for ages. As always, their localness topped yours. You and Tamarack ended up having the same first official experience with Serenity. You'd both come to know them in 7th grade when Serenity entered middle school. She was a year behind you and your neighbors. Physically, that didn't change much. They had classes in the same place you, Chiyu, and Tamarack. But when it came to school politics, that was a different thing entirely. This was major. Middle schoolers and high schoolers were not friends. Not usually, anyway. I'm gonna be invincible this year. You know that, right? Seemed like they were thinking the same thing. You know I'm still in cool as a high schooler, right? They giggled. You're welcome for the cred. Was that the only reason you're our friend? You teased. You're enjoying our high school year more than we are. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be much help, you snickered. Uh-huh, sure. It is way too early for this. You're gonna be a high schooler next year. You're gonna be a high schooler next year, you know. He raised an eyebrow. She was enjoying your freshman year more than anyone else. You shrugged. If that was what Serenity thought, it wasn't a problem. You just yawned. It was too early for this. You gave them a thumbs up. She was welcome. You shook your head, snickering. How are you going to help with coolness? Yeah, she's going to say, I don't think we're going to be much help because Kia is not popular. What? You're awesome. I'm not kidding. How'd you forget this already? Middle schoolers think anyone in high school is awesome. And you get lockers closer to the front. I've still got to go to the A end of the school. Peace out. What? She was only 13. Serena shouldn't use the word. Sorry. She continued not saying a single word as Serenity swept on by. We should go. Steps in sync, three of you speed walk towards your own lockers. The cul-de-sac kids were still sticking together. Unpacking your school info, you search for the most crucial parts. Autumn scanned over a packet, a dozen pages thick themselves. Oh, I should have saved. No, I won't change it. I saw because I followed them on Tumblr. People were asking about the class assignments, and this is actually randomized. Like, there's 4 possible outcomes. Let's see which one Kia gets, and then we will discuss the outcomes. Sorry. Hey, who's your homeroom teacher? They leaned in closer. That question was aimed directly at you. Tamarack could probably answer too if she felt like it. You had already been looking and you found the answer. Homeroom teacher Mr. Murray, room 28. Another Murray class. That hadn't happened since 5th grade. And it was a true Murray, not some other random guy with the same last name as the Mrs. Murray you knew. The only teacher Murrays in Golden Grove for a married couple with 2 kids. You'd managed to get both before your standard education ended. Some people in town said that was good luck. Others didn't. Some would wish you the very best in your time of hardship. It's Mr. Murray. Mr. Murray, I have Miss Severson. They buried their face into the traitorous schedule sheet. Maybe you thought they could rearrange ink letters if they pushed hard enough. BS. Tamarack pushed herself to keep up, speaking over the din. Yes! Kia, same homeroom for the whole year! She skipped along. If there was room and no one could see, she would have left. I'm in Mr. Ray's homeroom too. Well, I guess I shouldn't be too mean to the school. It could have been a lot worse. Guess it's not gonna matter if I skip homeroom. They gave a little smirk just to make you wonder if they were joking or not. Oh wait, let me read these. But okay, so the possibilities: homeroom, all 3 of you together; homeroom by yourself; homeroom with just Tamarack; homeroom with just you. And you're always gonna have the same homeroom teacher. It's them who's their 2 whose homeroom is either going to be Murray or Severson. Anyways, reactions. I'm so glad. Woohoo! That's amazing. It could have been worse. I don't mind that. This is hilarious. Alright, I'll take it. This sucks. Dang it, how stupid. You started cracking up. Sorry to you, it was too funny. You kept your mouth shut and your eyes on the schedule. Yes, you had a little celebration. You put a hand over your heart. Thank goodness. This sucked. You smacked a hand to your forehead. Dang it, you ground your teeth over the stupidity. You shrugged a shoulder. Could have been worse. Silently, you nodded to yourself. This was fine. Yeah, cause like the thing is, like I said, these 2 are Conky's favorite people, but Tamarack is the best friend. So sorry. I don't even know what that was. There's nothing here. Why does it do this to me? Sometimes there's just a sound and I'm like, okay, what is the sound for? Okay, well, anyways, Kia is very happy to be in class with Tamarack, but she's also disappointed that they didn't all get a homeroom together. But she's happy that she's in class with Tamarack. so it's like the how to react properly. It could have been worse. That would only apply to her, where it could have been worse, where she wouldn't have Tamarack in her class. But maybe she'll be like, okay, yeah, silently nod to yourself, this is fine, because she is happy to be in class. So she also doesn't want to. The thing about Kia, especially at this point, is that she's more there's a reason why I have her at unassuming, and it's because she's a little more nervy about being too expressive. And like in this case, I think she would be like, do I cheer that I get to be in class with Tamarack or not? So not to yourself. Also, they're at school now, so kind of like Tamarack, she's gonna be a little more less yeah. The group moved on from that as you kept pushing through the hall. You searched on the pages with extra interest. Besides homeroom, there were other core curriculum classes: science, math, PE, English, and a second language. Students actually had a choice with that last one. Two choices specifically: Spanish or French. Those had been the options since middle school. Tamarack had always taken Spanish, and Chiu went with French from the start. You didn't have to ask them to know. They'd do the same this time around. You decided on Spanish. You wanted to know that language. Spanish, you already knew that well. You knew that well already. Spanish, you needed to improve your abilities. Spanish, you'd learn any language to hang out with Tamarack. Spanish, you did not want to be in the same language class as Chiu. Spanish, it's not that you really cared about it, but it was better than French. French, that was a language you wanted to learn. French, you knew that well already. French, you needed to improve your abilities. French, Chiu was in that class, so obviously you had to do it too. French, being in the same language class as Tamarack was not going to happen. French, you wished there were other options, but that was the best of the two. We'll say Spanish, you need to improve your abilities, because she does know Spanish in my story. I know, it could say well already, but I don't know. I think she should, yeah. 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 Your strides fell more into sync. Each of you called off class sets and other teachers you had. Math in second period, English with Mr. Glenn, a session was study hall, back and forth. It was like a game of tennis in the middle of the school. The shape of this year, the good and the better, began to form in your mind. Not only did you like school, you were good at it. You got excellent grades. There's a lot to look forward to. You wanted to learn more. These classes would be interesting, but you didn't expect to do well on tests. No matter how bad you did with grades, you couldn't hate school. It was a new start. You wanted to do better than you had in the past. it'd be fun to come to classes whether you got good marks or not. Yeah, Kia's kind of the classes will be interesting. You didn't expect to do well on tests, no matter how bad school you did with grades. You couldn't hate school, or it'd be fun to come to classes whether you got good marks or not. That's Kia. She's canonically in my story. I had to think about this because I didn't really realize it. I think actually she's pretty decent with math. And I say this, I mean, it could change, but I say this because in the original version where she's there, you know, like I mentioned before, I had to cut her temporarily from the story. So she'll be coming up later, like a character that comes up later instead of already being there. But she was in math class with Leilani. And that's the only known class that she has with any of the other characters. Well, I guess she was she in their science class? Debatable. See, things might have to change. I think she might actually be decent at math, though. I think I can give her math. But the thing is, I mentioned this because for me, my schools, they had honors courses and non-honors courses. I don't imagine Kia having lots of honors courses, to be honest. So I think maybe she could have an honors math, but I don't think the rest of her classes are honors. And I also don't think she's that great at school. Those are just like two separate things that, like, go ahead and hit me. Similarly, like, for example, my character Ty, I think he only has one honors class as well, and I think it's English, because he's kind of bookish. But I think he does fine at school. He's fine with his grades. He's not in honors classes. Sabrina is not in honors classes. And I think she's, like, mid-level with grades. And now we're just like rams breaking down all my characters and their school stuff. Miles will tell you that he's really bad at school, but he's in all honors classes, so he's doing pretty good. But no, a part of me is like started to wonder. I was like, does Miles intentionally not intentionally not do well in school? And it's not like intentionally. It's like subconsciously intentionally, where he stops paying attention for reasons. But you know, that's just we're gonna go with this one. Me rambling on and on and on and on. That's what I'm here for. Oh my gosh, I'm out of water. Last on the list were electives. There were several options for that, ranging from a student's only chance to explore their creativity to treating teens like many adults, even more than regular classes did. Your friends were perfect examples of each end of the spectrum. Autumn signed up for work experience and intro to business. Seriously, those were electives, and Chiyu was doing them. Pretending to have a job wasn't enjoyable for Autumn. They saw it as a chance to get something worthwhile out of their days in this joint. When school was finally over, Autumn wanted to be ready to support themselves. Besides, they couldn't handle anything that required imagination or group effort. Their true hobbies were kept nice and safe out of school's reach. As the exact opposite, Tamarack had been getting into scrapbooking in her spare time. She decided that was a good enough reason to join yearbook. It was another way to explore memory keeping. Her other elective was the same as it was last time and the time before that. Orchestra. The school orchestra. Tamarack played the cello. Electives were meant to let students be themselves, to decide on their own what mattered in their education. However, 2 classes, some days a week, was not enough to encompass a whole person. People could be into a lot of things, and they could choose electives they didn't like for tons of reasons. The packet between your fingers listed every elective in Riverview Peak existence, starting with art foundations. Kia's an art kid. Creating traditional art was a hobby of yours. Seeing art and trying to understand it fascinated you. Creating digital art was something you enjoyed. Oh, I didn't even read these. Hang on. I just started clicking. I was like, okay. You didn't have any interest in artsy stuff. Creating traditional art was a hobby of yours. Creating digital art was something you enjoyed. Creating usable art was something you spent time on. Seeing art and trying to understand it fascinated you. Creating traditional art was a hobby of yours. Creating digital art was something you enjoyed. Creating usable art was something you spent time on. Seeing and trying to understand it fascinated. Oh my gosh. Seeing art and trying to understand it fascinated you. And that was everything you had to do with art. Seeing art and trying to understand it fascinated you. I don't know that Kia does digital art. I think she's a painter. I think she likes to sit on the floor with a really large piece of paper and paint. Yep, I have it in my head. Like, that's the image I get when I think about Kia and art. That's like the main image, but she's an art student. She'll do small paintings too, and sketches and stuff. Obviously, you kind of need to sketch. Well, you don't have to, but it's kind of typical that you would sketch before you paint. Anyways, yeah, I think that's good. I don't know what usable art would mean if it's not like crafts. Well, crafts? Does she has bracelets. I think making those, when she was a kid, we put those bracelets in her room because I think she would like making bracelets, but does bracelets count? We'll say it won't count. We'll say it won't count for now. And that was everything you had to do with art. Second, orchestra. Music didn't mean much to you. Music was such an impactful thing. You loved listening to music. You played an instrument. Music was important to you because it was important to Tamarack. Kia loves listening to music. Though I don't think she plays an instrument, but I think she can say music is impactful. Yeah, she doesn't play an instrument. If this was Ryan, Ryan does play an instrument. Ryan plays multiple instruments, actually. I guess this is a Ryan day. I keep mentioning Ryan today. Wow. Singing was so fun. You were good at it. Singing was something you took very seriously. It was nice to sing, though you sounded kind of bad. You were entirely tone deaf, but sung anyways. Other people singing was cool. You wouldn't be caught dead singing. You were way too nervous to sing. I think Kia has fun singing. I don't think she's like singing seriously, and I don't think she's in choir, but I think she would have fun singing. Computer programming. Programming interested you. You were fascinated by computers. You already knew a lot about how computers and programming worked. Computers were great, but you had no idea how they functioned. Technology stuff was way too complicated for you. That was not your thing. Not your kind of thing. You thought you should understand them better than you did. It was so important. Yeah, computers are great, but yeah, she's like, yeah, computers, they're cool. I don't know anything about them, though. Fifth, I don't think I've been reading these numbers. Fifth, intro to business. The thought of having your own business was exciting. You wanted to be successful somehow, but it seemed hard and boring. Understanding money and stuff piqued your curiosity. Anything that could make you money was appealing to you. And that kind of thing made you miserable. That kind of thing was miserable. You didn't want a job. Why did freshmen have to worry about that already? You'd worry about that later. I think she's kind of leaning towards this one. Like, she's like, that sounds cool and all, but then again, I said she was kind of like, well, math and money are different. And being good at math doesn't mean like you like learning about jobs and money. Okay, yeah, I got that one. Intro and engineering. The topic was fascinating. You tried to know as much as you could. You loved building things. Being an inventor seemed fun. It was cool to hear about that, but you wouldn't want to do it yourself. Engineering seemed way too hard and serious. That was not something you understood at all. It was cool to hear about, but was it? You didn't want to do that yourself. I think it just seemed fun. It was cool to hear about. I think she was probably think it's cool. Like, she thinks these things are cool, but, like, would she do them herself is the real question. Oh, she kind of wants to sit in the corner and paint. Outdoor excursions. Forest and nature were wonderful. Hiking was a great pastime. I liked being outside as much as possible. The wilderness scared you. Outdoorsy stuff was way too tiring. It was icky out there. Walking around the woods bored you. Forest and nature were wonderful. I mean, that's what we could say for her. Photography. That was a hobby of yours. You took a lot of photos. It was fun. Photography was something you strived to be good at. It was important to you. It was nice when people took pictures of you. You were a model. Mama handled picture taking. You never thought about it, though. Looking at beautiful pictures was enjoyable. You only took pictures to remember things. This is a side note. Ty's photography was something you strived to be good at. It was important to you. Ty loves cameras and photography and all that stuff. He's a film major, but also he does photography. And I think he likes looking at pictures. Ninth, theater. Performing was the best. Watching live performances was so cool. You were intrigued by the behind-the-scenes stuff, costumes and sceneries and props. Directing a choreograph sounded way more interesting than the acting part. You wished you were brave enough to do stuff with an audience. The thought of doing performance for an audience made you sick. That sort of thing wasn't for you. Kia, I don't know if she has any performing in front of people experiences. She would think it was cool. I think she would be someone who would like to perform on a stage, but also she's really shy at this point. 'Cause she's like, I'm really gonna judge and hate me. So I guess we'll go with you wish you were able to do stuff with the audience. 10th, work experience. It was the same idea as intro to business, though with more hands-on experience. That didn't change your mind about job stuff. And finally, number 11, yearbook. Working with other people to make a big project was a lot of fun. You were super into school spirit. It was too bad there was no journalism option. That's what you were into. You loved scrapbooking. That sounded like a hassle to you. You were excited to see the yearbook when it was done. The school yearbook didn't matter to you. She was super into school spirit stuff. But for your only 2 electives you had decided to take art foundations, orchestra, choir, computer programming, intro to business, intro to engineering, outdoor excursions, photography, theater, work experience, yearbook. I was reading them in order. Ha 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 ha. I've been in order this whole time. She's going to take art foundations because you liked it and could do it well. You just liked it. You liked it and could do it well. It seemed easier than other things. You figured it'd be less work than the rest of the options. You honestly want to know more about it. You're ready to learn. It might be helpful in the long run for you. Yeah, you liked it and could do it well. And like I said, I don't think she plays an instrument. I don't think she's in choir. I don't think she's in computer programming. I don't think that's Intro to business, no. Intro to engineering, no. Outdoor excursions, maybe. Photography, theater, maybe. But theater, you'd have to. She would probably want to be in theater, but would she be in theater? Work experience, yearbook. Okay, so I've narrowed it down to 3 options: outdoor excursions, theater, yearbook. And really, this is something I should know. I should know because I try to plan out my character's schedules. But again, I took her out of the story. So, I just didn't get around to that part. I say like I've planned out everyone's things. Now, look, if this was Ryan, if I was playing as Ryan right now, orchestra, choir, no hesitation. I'd be click, click, done. If I was playing as Ty, photography, yearbook, click, click, done. Leilani would probably be doing these 2, to be honest. Intro to business and work experience. I don't think she cares as much about the rest of the stuff. And there's no dance classes here, and that's the hesitation part, because there's no dance classes here because they have the dance hall where you can take your dance classes in this town. That's Leilani's taking dance classes over at the dance hall, and so is Paisley. So I have to figure out what their electives are here. But what would Paisley do? Maybe she'd be in choir. I guess I could see Paisley doing choir. What else would she do? Huh. Paisley's a cheerleader. That's random, but she is. I'm gonna spin a spinner real quick to help me decide which one Kia should be in. Oh, they think she should be in theater. Okay, we'll say she's in theater. That was cause you just liked it. You liked it and could do it well. It seemed easier than other things. You figured it'd be less work than the rest of the options. You honestly want to know more about it. You're ready to learn. It might be helpful for you in the long run. You just liked it. It might be helpful for you in the long run. You honestly want to know more about it. You're ready to learn. Yeah, let's say she wants to know more about it. When it was your turn, you shared your electives with Chiu and Tamarack. Wow. I've been afraid of drawing for the teacher since 5th grade. Whatever you make him perform, it'll be magical. Honestly, that'd be pretty cool if you weren't being graded on it. Since you are, it is repulsive. For me, it's bad for me. You'll probably still have a good time, Kia. Don't worry too much. After going over your entire set of classes and sessions, you found out you'd have periods with Tamarack, Chiu, both, and neither. It wasn't elementary school anymore. You wouldn't be spending all day, every day, in the same places. Then you abruptly stopped. This was it. You made it to your locker, number 109. This is also random. Not your locker, but yeah. A narrow blue door, about head height, identical to the rows and rows of other people's lockers. But still, this one was yours. Your own mini room away from home. You'd be able to fill in with all sorts of stuff. Whatever you wanted throughout the day, you'd have right there. Oh, wait. Tamarack's feet faltered. Her pink boots caught on each other. I forgot my number after going over all the classes and everything. Let me check. She tore through pages, trying to get back to where she'd started. The packet rustled noisily. Autumn held their own schedule in one hand. They gazed down at it, head and mouth cocked to the side. I forgot we were walking in the first place. Ah, guess who also has a locker right here? You didn't actually need to reply. Tamarack already had the answer. Me, we're locker neighbors. Ooh, maybe we'll be seat neighbors in our classes too. Our luck has been great so far. Chiu slammed a palm into the locker right behind you. Random passers-by jumped at the even more random bang. You slowly turned around. This one's mine. The smack wasn't enough to claim ownership. Autumn tipped over to lean their entire back against the spot. They completed the pose by crossing their arms and legs. All right. This is the least they could do for me. You relished Tamarack's joy as you laughed at Chiu's confidence. For the rest of the year, it'd be you and them right there. Reading the code off your info packet, you twisted the lock face. Right, left, right again. Grooves on the knob pressed lines into your fingers. Then the door popped open. You got it. You fit your outer layers into the space. You took off just your scarf but left your headband on. You took off just your headband but left your scarf on. You kept your outer layers on. Well, you know, she's already not wearing like what I thought she was wearing exactly, because I don't know why I didn't read that as a scarf. That's like, now that I know it's a scarf, I'm like, yeah, that's so obviously a scarf. But I think she's going to keep on her headband. At least. So I haven't decided if she's going to keep on her scarf or not. But I didn't decide what... Oh, shoot. Hang on. If I click this real quick. Yeah, okay, there we go. She's in her overalls, guys. She's in her overalls. Plus you left your helmet there. Carrying it all day would be pointless. While doing that, you got to know the locker better. There were lots of little details, scuffs and scratches that set it apart from all others. Honestly, you were feeling attached already. Your first high school locker, it was a milestone in your life. And it was nice that you didn't have to go to the opposite end of school to get it. She's probably more of a theater tech kid than a theater kid. I mean, like, they didn't say theater tech, but I can't imagine she's doing the performing part in theater right now. A piercing sound shot into your eardrums. The thoughts you've been having were done and gone. The bell. It could be heard in every inch of the school, within 20 feet of the building. You glanced around with purpose, trying to get some idea of where you were compared to where you needed to be. Your gaze searched above the rush of teenagers passing behind you. A different kind of movement in the corner of your eyes caught your attention. Tamarack was messing with her hair and clothes again. Tamarack made a comb. I said combo? What? Tamarack made a comb magically appear and dragged it through her bob. She had been certain her rain run hadn't left any real damage. She gave you a secret grin, not letting those around you spot the braces. Her brows furrowed in determination. Ready to do this? At your other side, Autumn had their forehead pressed to their locker. Had they ever opened that? Probably not. They didn't put their jacket away, at least. But they managed to groaningly peel themselves away from the wall. See you. Don't die on me, Kia. Just like that, Autumn slipped away from you, surrounded by people, yet completely alone. Aw, that's so sad. Oof. Oh. Why are you trying to make me sad? Swinging the locker door shut, it closed with a bang. You legged it to homeroom with Tamarack. You made it on time. You made sure of it. Many people wandered in after you. It was the first day. That and the last day were kind of the only allowed times to run late. Out the window, you could see rain continuing to fall hard. You might have been able to smell it if fewer people had experimented with cologne and perfume for their high school debut. The room itself was basically identical to your middle school classrooms. It was almost nostalgic. You hadn't been away from this kind of scene for long, yet memories of years ago could stir in your mind. Anna made a similar point about the elementary school classrooms. Those also stayed the same through the 1st to 5th grade. You settled into an assigned seat. Nobody asked where you'd like to sit anymore. You'd gotten a middle row, towards the door. Getting in and out should be a piece of cake. Your friend wasn't in the same line. Tamarack got a precious window seat towards the back. She'd placed her bag on top of the desk, hugging it. She still needed to be ready for anything. Every chair filled eventually. You looked towards the front. The teacher stood there with his back turned. He was busy writing his name in broad strokes on the whiteboard. Mr. Murray. He circled it, then flipped around. Each feature on his face was clearly defined. His eyes had a gentle curve and a green that popped against his peachy skin. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah, I'll be right back. Just a quick little restroom break. Okay, be right back. I'm back. Right, we are in homeroom class. We're in homeroom. We got homeroom. Kia got homeroom with Tamarack with the bestie. Yeah, it's okay. Each feature, I read this line, but I'll reread it. Each feature on his face was clearly defined. His eyes had a gentle curve and a green that popped against his peachy skin. Mr. Murray wore an autumn-themed novelty tie. That was the kind of teacher he was, the type who tried to make learning fun. You could tell from a single look. At least, you would have been able to, if this wasn't the first time you'd met him. If this was the first time you'd met him. It wasn't. He lived one street over from you for the past 4 years. You'd seen him around. Heck, you knew his first name, Rudy. Rudy Murray, Ren's dad, Shannon Murray's husband, and your new homeroom teacher. A wedding ring caught the light when Mr. Murray lifted his 2 hands, addressing the class. His voice boomed unwaveringly. Good morning, young scholars. As you can see right here, I am Mr. Murray, your homeroom teacher. But I do science mainly. Some of you might get me twice in a day. I recognize many faces here already. We've shared Gordon Grove long before we've shared this class. You may recall my wife from elementary school, Mrs. Murray, with the red hair. He pointed to his shock of blonde hair. Various teens mumbled and nodded. A few shouted out their love for their childhood teacher. A Mrs. Murray mentioned could pull a reaction from nearly the most jaded of high schoolers. Mr. Murray nodded, satisfied. She's going to be thrilled to hear about this. Her students remain students in her heart forever, no matter how old you get. But between just you and me, you're not elementary schoolers anymore. You've graduated to my class now, and good news, I'm the easy one. Since you've already made it this far, your last few years of school are in the bag. Mr. Murray threw out that phrase with a wink and nudge inflection, pretending to dunk a basketball. The 14-year-olds were not so impressed anymore. Somebody coughed. Well, before I get carried away, we better do roll call, don't you think? He loved his questions. Well, he was a teacher. Asking the people here questions was Mr. Murray's literal job. He collected a folder off his desk and tapped it with his knuckles. So, I'm going to go down this long list of students. When you hear your last name, I want you to raise your cell phone high. Really show it off. What? The room filled with murmuring. At this point, it might as well be a round table discussion rather than a lesson. Was the teacher serious? Actually, yes. I'm serious. Come on now. Mr. Murray really knew how to get that class engagement, for better and worse. But nothing could stop the roll of his call. 114, right next to you, got stuck as the teacher's test dummy. Mr. Murray pumped them until they couldn't live with it anymore. They raised their hand with the white smartphone in their grip. It was pristine. Maybe that kid's parents took them to get a new phone before high school too. But the standard was set. After that, the next students responded faster. Bauman? I'm here. Tamara had her phone in hand since halfway through that first person digging their feet in. She was ready. But in her haste to be here, she lurched forward, knocking her bag sideways. Tamarack's stash of supplies scattered over her desk. Hey now, that's enthusiasm. Look at how exciting education is. Tamarack's head hung low. She used both arms to scoop a pencil box, napkins, and other stuff back to where it belonged. She'd shown off way more than she had to for roll call. Don't do Tammy like that, mister. She's embarrassed. You don't have to address it as well. Your turn for show and tell rapidly approached. There were only a couple dozen kids in the class. How many could have letters after yours? Connolly? Q Connolly? There it was. Here. You raised your phone over your head. I'm here. You lifted an empty hand. Here. You kept your arms down. I'm right here. You put your phone on your desk. I'm not here. You raised your phone high. You waved an empty hand. You were here. Silently, you showed the teacher your phone. You lifted a pencil instead, a communication device of the past, you might say. You were absolutely not doing this. You couldn't make a move or sound. You'd completely frozen. Yeah, completely frozen. I read it right. Okay. Honestly, low-key, I might just like someone to Tamarack and fumble a little bit, but I'm trying to keep in mind that Kia at this point is kind of on the shyer side, so I don't know what'll be the best to help, because you know that last word there can be shy, casual. Hang on. Is this better? Can you hear me better now? Shy, casual, and maybe Shirley. I was looking at the comment section, so I saw Shirley in comments about this game. But I should just raise her phone high. Quietly though, which isn't gonna make her quite shy, but it might keep her rowdy. Got you down, Connolly. Moved along to the next victim. When everything was over, Mr. Murray tossed the folder back on his desk, barely stopping to check where it was going. And that will be all. I got a good look at those phones. Now I know what I need to keep an eye out for. Make sure you keep them away for the rest of class. Understand? Hooray for homeroom. It was actually going to be fun with him around. Mr. Murray was so goofy. It made you want to laugh. Great. You'd gotten an embarrassing teacher. This was completely unfair. What if there had been somebody with no phone? He'd humiliate them. Boo. Not funny. You didn't have the energy for antics at 8 a.m. He sucked already. I said that weirdly. You gotta understand the annoyance in the sentence, and that's why I know. I don't know. My brain is somewhere else. Like I was thinking about the time because I get off 12:30ish. Got an hour about left. But what if I get off in a weird place? Mr. Ray seemed nice. He really tried. As long as he didn't give homework on the first day, he'd be fine. I think he is kind of like LOL. Didn't Mrs. Murray pull little tricks too? You distinctly remembered groans and laughs being normal in your old colorful class. It must be a teacher couple thing. We'll do the standard here tomorrow. Oh yeah, I remember now. Mrs. Murray was like, alright class, I want you to say here, and it's lovely to learn with you. I'm glad to be here with you, Miss Murray. Something like that. I can't remember the exact phrase. Oh my gosh. Recall is failing me. But yeah, that's what she did on the first day. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember it. We'll do the standard here tomorrow. Mr. Murray tightened his tie. Serious business was coming now. Next up, I'm going to make sure everyone in my homeroom understands their schedules and where to go. If I can help it, you'll each start this year feeling fully prepared. Please take out your course sheets. While students unpacked their actual school stuff, Mr. Murray kept speaking. He went over how there were sign-up sheets for teams and clubs on the bulletin board in the main hall. Tryouts are going to happen soon. If you want to take extracurriculars, don't wait. You can put your name down between classes, during lunch or after school. Homeroom was brief, not even half as long as normal class. As a normal class. The goal of making sure every student knew exactly what to do for the rest of the day and the entire year had been ambitious. He attempted to explain how to get from one area of the school to another, the logic behind schedules, and how on earth to keep track of switching sessions. Obviously, it did not totally sink in. There were plenty of students who couldn't grasp it, and a lot who didn't care. After barely 20 minutes total, homeroom ended. The bell rang again. At one of my schools, homeroom, you only had it like on certain days of the year. And it was like kind of used to give you your schedule and stuff. But it was also like a short class, so it would be like C days. C days, because there's A days, B days, and then there was C days, which is where we would have homeroom. And homeroom was assigned by your last name. And this is at my high school. The high school I went to for freshman year. And so you had it on the first day of school. You had it on the first day of second semester. And I think maybe, potentially, on assembly days. But I actually can't remember if we actually had homeroom on those days or not. I know all our classes were shortened because on assembly days they would have an assembly at the end of the day. So like go to every single one of your classes and they'll just be short. I can't remember if we had homeroom on those days, but maybe not. I think maybe we only had homeroom twice a year, and it was at the beginning of the first day of school. And yeah, so you knew what all your classes were. Yeah. Your first real lesson of the day was science class, right then and there with Mr. Murray. Not only did you not have to rush anywhere, but you already knew the teacher. Other people weren't as lucky. Around you, students were getting to their feet. Mr. Murray directed traffic, offering advice along the way. Remember, this is a biology class. If you're looking for chemistry, then it's biology, because you've got to go. This was part of the day you shared with both Chiu and Tamarack. You spotted Chiu instantly when they came through the door. Tamarack stayed exactly where she was. Chiu sat front and center. From behind you, you could hear the tapping of Tamarack's shoes. It was her own type of Morse code. You understood the quick beat well enough to know what it meant. She was happy. In front of you, Chiu popped a low peace sign. They didn't look over their shoulder. That'd draw too much attention. This was a secret message for you alone. The chairs were once again filled to the brim, and Mr. Murray made the first greeting. Welcome to the high school side of Riverview Peak. He tapped at his name, already on the board. I'm your teacher, Mr. Murray. Students from homeroom, you might want to cover your ears because I'm about to repeat a lot of jokes. You were surrounded by sighs. Tamarack took the suggestion literally. She smushed her hands against the side of her head. Yeah, you liked him. And Mr. Murray wasn't kidding about repeating things. He made his science-specific students do the phone presentation too. Then Mr. Murray got into the science stuff. Today was only an introduction lesson to biology, the basics of basics. You were given a bulky textbook to use for this class. He'd also assigned some pages to read on your own time. That was it. The bell rang for the first time. There was still so much to do. Wait, that wasn't... Not for the first time. For the third time. The longer the day went on, the more humid it got in the school. That happened when you stuffed a bunch of growing teens in limited spaces. Despite that, it never stopped being cold. Somewhere, a door to the outside would get opened, or a window was cracked, or a vent started blowing unheated air. There was always another chill ready to climb up your spine. Morning turned into afternoon with you darting from class to class. There were little bits of time in between each session. Your schedule included that as part of your day, but they were not real. Those minutes didn't exist. You technically stopped at your locker and got to see Chiyu and Tamarack, and your arms and legs moved sort of freely. However, there wasn't room to think or breathe. Mr. Murray's suggestion to consider extracurriculars in the time between classes could not happen. You were a bit too busy trying not to be tardy. You wouldn't get within 5 feet of the bulletin board until you had a slightly longer break. Lunch. All 9th graders had the same lunch period, and that was one part of the schedule every student managed to remember. Tamarack and you also had the same class right before then, so walking to the cafeteria together was easy. Now's when the two of you got to stand in front of the school's extracurricular extravaganza board. It was plastered top to bottom in sign-up sheets. They were stapled down with no pattern to make sense of. Anything went there, including putting your club's locker halfway on top of someone else's. Excuse me. Each paper advertised in hugely bold font what they were, and the real go-getter groups added smaller text telling you why you should sign up for their activity. The popular ones were easy to spot. They were the sheets that actually needed a full-size page to fit all the people trying to get their names on it. Most of them barely managed to fill a third of their names. Tamarack stared at the dozens of possibilities facing her, eyes wide, and she rejected them all with a shake of her head. Tamarack explained her inner thoughts for your sake. I've got to focus on electives. The arrangement of the 9th grade yearbook was not the source of her worries. It was her cello playing, Tamarack's music. Over the years, you'd learn about your friend, how little she believed in her own self. No matter how long she practiced, Tamarack felt incapable of creating her own magic. Tamarack changed tack and looked over at you. She didn't need to see things she couldn't have anymore. Do you know how orchestra is having a recital for family members in a few months? Yeah? My parents are going to be there. Mom called back and said so. Oh, Dr. and Dr. Bauman were coming. That was a reason to be worried. Her parents were going to be there in the flesh, watching. Still, a flicker of excitement went off in your chest. They cared about what Tamarack cared about. Don't worry, Tammy. You'll do great. It's okay. Your parents won't cause trouble. We'll survive this, Tamarack. Now I'm nervous. Good luck, Tammy. That's gonna be interesting. Well, thanks for telling me. You nodded. Now you knew. It made you pretty curious. How was that gonna go? You gripped Tamarack's shoulders. You'd get through this together. You could only offer a smile. It'd be all right. Yeah, don't worry, Tammy. You'll do great. Thanks, Kia. Whatever anyone felt about it, at the end of this season, the school orchestra will perform its first recital, and Tamarack's parents were going to be in the audience. You can look at the sign-ups. She squished her own cheeks. Her own cheek squished her own cheek. I'm not trying to stop you just because I can't do it. Tamarack didn't want to rob you of any happiness, and talking about her parents sure wasn't going to do that. So, You let her let it go. Your gaze swept over the board and its many sports team posters. There were a handful of clubs too. When counting the electives, Riverview actually covered a lot of things people your age might care about. It got you thinking about some of your other interests and disinterests. When it came to sports U, for reading U, about writing U, with movies and TV U, to you video games were about board games and card games U. In your opinion, astronomy was, that's Miles' thing, hang on. On the topic of volunteering U, your interest level in fashion was, you didn't get caught up in that. Okay. Do we go through and set these all up? I saw them. I saw the Tumblr. This was a while ago. This was like before the updated demo. Wait, I took a screenshot. Hang on, give me a second. I'm gonna read it because I took a screenshot. Okay, so someone asked the team, their Tumblr, GB Patch. It's mentioned in the prologue preview on Tumblr. Did I say on Tumblr? I think I did already, sorry. It's mentioned in the prologue preview of Step 2 in Our Life Now Forever that we get to take extracurriculars, and I assume a few classes that we get to choose. I was wondering how often these would be mentioned / how they will appear in game. Thank you. And the response was, mostly it doesn't come up much, but choosing your interests adds certain alterations, I can read, oh my gosh, that are separate from mentioning the class itself. You can know more about a subject because you're involved with that, and it will be reflected in the descriptions. Like there's some alterations where MC uses bigger / fancier words if they're studious or bookish, and they use simpler terms if not. Also, there's a few electives / extracurricular that will more meaningful impact certain moments. For example, if you're in orchestra with Tamarack, that does change things quite a bit. So I wonder if not joining a club but still having interest in this stuff also like changes things. I mean, it's probably just like flavor text, but like, you know, let's see. For sports, let's go through these. I clicked for sport. When it came to sports, you loved team activities, enjoyed moving your body and breaking a sweat, thought it could be fun as long as it stayed casual, wanted to be a pro athlete, it wasn't fun and games for you, were a mega sports fan, you loved following all your favorite teams, had a good time watching them but not doing it yourself, didn't have any interest in them. I think Kia's got a lot of energy, so sports are probably something good for her. But I don't know if she'd rather watch them. I'll say she'd rather watch them. And, well, wait. I think we'll say that they could be fun as long as she can. Well, yeah, we'll let her, well. Okay, let me think of my other characters real quick. So, Paisley's somewhere on this page. Paisley's a cheerleader. Paisley's a cheerleader. And she really likes being a cheerleader. Leilani is probably, well, does dance count? I'm counting dance as a sport. To me, dancing is a sport, but also, I know some people are like, but I think Leilani's around here. Miles doesn't have any interest in them, but he is a pretty good runner. Miles is fast. He's a fast runner. Ty probably doesn't. Well, he might like watching them sometimes, but it's probably more here. Ryan's on this page somewhere. Goodness, that didn't help me very much either. Okay. That's when you flip a coin. That's when you flip a coin. Na, 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 na. For the grocery store. You guys ever watch Yo Gabba Gabba? that song was what song I was basically singing, which is why the grocery store. It's the song they were talking about why you make a list. That's why you made a list. That's why we made a list. I'm here to bring back everyone's childhood clearly. I'm sorry. And for reading, adored anything you get your hands on, you love to read, period. That's Leilani. Leilani. Boom. We're all about novels, focused on nonfiction books, had interest in comics, liked manga most, played visual novels, only really read fan fiction, were charmed by poetry, never did it, there was too much assigned reading for school already. So anyways, this is Leilani and possibly even Ty, because I think Ty reads most of these things. These are really good options though. Kia, I'll say she has interest in comics. I mean, that sounds legit. I should have said maybe manga. Yeah, I'll leave it as comics. I think she likes comics in general. About writing, tried all sorts of styles. All that mattered was that you wrote. Aspired to make a real novel. Sabrina is probably this one. You wanted to write for comics or TV or something with visuals too. Wrote your own visual novels. Were a fan fiction writer. Created original poetry. Only did that for class. It was not something you do on your own time. I could see her kind of wanting to write for something visual. Ty is definitely this one because he does want to write for TV. Well, does he want to write for TV or does he want to be the cameraman? I mean, you can do both. You know, on some projects you're a screenwriter, on other projects you're the camera operator. I can see her be. Oh, right, I haven't saved in a while. I could see her be one of these two. Well, I can create original poetry. I can kind of also see her doing poetry, but Kia likes to draw. Maybe she wouldn't really want to write for it, but like to work with it. That makes sense, you know. I keep accidentally right clicking. You know what I mean? Like maybe she wants to be the artist to someone's comic writing rather than actually write for the comic. Yeah. Now it's between these two. Okay, I've narrowed partially down to two options. Let's flip a coin. Let's flip a coin. I'm sorry you can't see my coin. Anyways, the coin says she doesn't write. And with movies and TVs, you were a huge movie and TV buff. You could talk about it for hours. Oh, right. Well, anyways, found filmmaking an incredible craft. Like to kick back with that sometimes. Only cared about documentaries and stuff that taught you something. Miles is a nerd. Miles is this one. Okay, I don't mean nerd in a bad way, but like it's funny because I recently realized that Miles doesn't actually watch a lot of TV. Like there's actually like a scene where his mom's like, "Oh, we can catch up on this show," and he was about to head out. We were gonna watch the show, but he was like gonna head out, and he was like, "Oh, she wanted to watch the show." He was already had plans, and he was like, "Oh, you can watch without me." And she was like, "I can just wait." And he was like, "Nah, it's more something you like to watch anyway." But like he canonically likes to watch documentaries. Like that is like a legit thing. It's he likes to watch documentaries, and it's really funny because I don't. And it's not because documentaries aren't interesting. It's just that they are really like a low energy. That's like sometimes I feel bad, but I kind of like start to fall asleep. But it's not their fault. They have like such interesting information. But it's okay. Miles can sit through them for me, and then he can tell me all about them. Follow reality shows. You had to know what would happen. Enjoyed some genres, and there were others you didn't care for. Thought those were too long. You'd rather watch YouTube or Vine. You'd never sit down to watch those. It pretty unbelievable Mama still had cable. I'll say she enjoyed some stuff and stuff, yeah. I know, I'm going through all of them because why not? They're all here. Like I see that you didn't keep thinking about all that, but I think if Kia has a moment to, she's gonna, let's flush this out. Oh. I realized as I was talking, I'm going to still do it, but when the full game comes out, I'll have to go back to step 1, so I'll have to, but it's like a pre-setting up, and it'll be a little faster next time, because I would have already thought about it. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyways, we clicked on video games. The best, you play anything, anytime. Super interesting, especially when it came to how they were made. A lot of fun. It was definitely a hobby. More than a hobby, you wanted to be a pro gamer. Something better to watch. Let's plays are cool. Cool to play with other people. You didn't do single player stuff. Not anything special. You didn't have anything to do with them. I think Kia probably is a person who likes to play games more with other people than by herself. But yeah, you know what? Let's go with that one. I know that all my characters canonically like video games. That is canon. It's canon. They all like video games. Yeah, 4 of them. Okay, so Kia, Leilani, Miles, and Ryan actually started from a short story that I made when I was just doing some writing practice. Like, this was like all the way back in 6th grade. Not 6th grade. Not necessarily 6th grade. Was it 6th grade? It was sometime in middle school. Anyways, and in that, things that were established, they like board games, they like bendy straws, they like going to the arcade. Yeah, anyways, cool to play with other people. You didn't do what single player stuff. I don't know that she does, even though she's often by herself. I mean, what do you do in your free time, girl? Probably goes outside a lot. Cause she has a pet dog. She plays with her dog, and then she paints. And anyways, about board games and card games. Played them all the time. Physical games like that were so cool. Would choose boards over cards every time. Only cared about card games. Board games were boring. Loved the more random and luck-based types. You're really into the strategy-based ones. You'd rather collect cards than play a game based on them. Thought they were pretty neat. It wasn't an everyday thing to do. You didn't get them. They were tedious. We'll just go with the play them all the time. I don't think all of them would probably be play them all the time. We know they all like board games. But, I think, yeah, even though, she probably does it with her family. She has 3 parents. Anyways, in your opinion, astronomy was amazing. Stars in space were just so incredible. That's Miles. That's Miles. Fascinating. The constellations and the stories and stuff always interested you. Oh. Well, yeah, I think this is more Miles. Miles knows a lot about space. His favorite planet. Well, I'll tell you later. Kind of cool, but also too much like schoolwork. Something interesting to hear about, but not anything you understood well. Not for you. You had no clue about the sky. Something interesting to hear about for Kia. She's like, oh, that's cool. On the topic of volunteering, you did it frequently. It was a wonderful way to spend time. Tried to be helpful sometimes when you could. Wanted to get into it when you were older. Would do it with people you knew and liked, not strangers. Admire people who did that. People who were not you. Considered that work not a hobby, even if no one got paid for it. Yeah, I can see. So wow, this is really helping me flesh out my characters. Oh my gosh, I gotta think about this stuff. I know I could have just skipped on my little way, but sometimes you make decisions And then when you're halfway through the decision, you say, well, I can't quit now, I've already made the decision. Okay. Try to be helpful sometimes when you could. I'll go with that one for Kia. I think that's, Kia thing. I think Miles is probably the admired people who did. I know I talk about Miles the most, but that's because, all in all, out of all these characters, Miles is the main character of my story. Yeah. And I've probably said that before, but I mentioned all these characters, but most of the characters I mentioned are all from the same story. I have other stories, it's just that this is the most high school slice of life story I have. Anyway, and was that really the last one? Did I really get through all of them? Yeah, wow, okay. Sorry, I had to go see. Interest level in fashion was high. You followed all the trends. Serious, you were a trendsetter by design. Decent. It was fun to be stylish, but being comfortable mattered more. Max. You wanted a future in the fashion industry. It was your passion. One of these four is probably Ty. I think that he's probably one of these two. Yeah, anyways, limited. Cool clothes were neat to see on the pros, not you. Mixed. You didn't agree with everything that was in at the time. You had your own thoughts. Low. Your style was all your own. Nobody else could decide if it worked for you. 0. Clothes just covered your butt. Who cared how it looked? I think Kia might be this one. Limited, cool clothes were neat to see on the pros, not you. Low, your style was all your own. Nobody could tell you. Yeah, it's probably low. I think Kia's like, yeah, I got my style. I like overalls. I like overalls and cute clothes and socks. Yeah. You lost count on how many extracurriculars were on display before you'd even found all the sports teams. With students spending 8 hours in school and even more doing homework, you couldn't imagine someone joining more than one of those extra activities if they cared about any. You genuinely considered signing up for something. There was no way you'd be a part of a school group. But Tamarack was right. There was too much you had to worry about already. You thought it seemed stressful. Part of you wished you were brave enough to try. You weren't, though. I think I'm going to go with that one for her. Because I think, it's like, well, less more people are just like me. You can step away from the voice. And there's like, I don't even describing it properly. I can't describe it properly right now, but I'm hoping that the vibe is low-key in the air. Wait, no, stay there. I don't remember what voice I did for Serenity. Huh? The shout gave Tamarack a shock, though the someone was no surprise. You both knew that voice. Serenity jogged over. They were breaking the school speed limit. She must have found her locker after all. Serenity wasn't wearing their extra layers anymore. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Yep, that's cute. Without the black puffer jacket, her only cool factor was the boots. It made it so much more obvious that they were a year younger than you and Tamarack. Serenity was a little sweetie. They didn't say hi. She didn't have the breath to spare for greetings. Instead, Serenity got into a hasty explanation. I've got to get to another class. 8th graders already had lunch. But I needed to talk to you, or I wouldn't have been able to think of anything else. Her evergreen eyes were torn between you and Tamarack. You're in orchestra again, right? And you're in theater, Kia? I just heard. Obviously, they just heard. It was the first day of school. You hadn't gone to a single practice yet. Knowing any sooner would have been impossible. News traveled at the speed of sound in Golden Grove, and light speed within the school. Right, I'm still doing the cello thing. It's not a big deal. Yeah, you're good. Don't say anything else. Wait, actually, can you two say that? You'll score a ticket for me? I've got to get into the indie performer scene. Tamarack couldn't help cracking a smile. You all took another minute to chat until you saw something at the other end of the hall. You definitely hadn't heard anything coming. A pair of ballet flats moved soundlessly across the floor. An intentionally ironic choice of footwear, considering she was a dancer. Prima ballerina in the making, Bianca di Fiore. She strode forward in exact, even motions. Her mass of curly hair didn't so much as sway. 5 books could be balanced on her head, and they wouldn't fall. It rivaled Chiu's poise, not just generally, but even when they bothered to try. And challenge Chiu she did. Those two were in the same ballet class, though that was a whole other story. Bianca stopped directly in front of your group, arms folded, back straight. She always dressed like a young professional, more proper than a lot of the teachers. Mr. Murray's silly tie came to mind. Her blouse and blazer combo was well known in this school. The ovally shape of her eyes and position of her eyebrows. The ovally shape of her eyes and position of her brows made Bianca come across as inherently concerned or pouting, depending on how nice you wanted to be about it. That didn't mean she actually felt that way. Girls. But right now, maybe she did. The other girls turned. They finally noticed what you already had. Tamarack paled immediately. Meanwhile, Serenity reached for Bianca no differently than they had with Tamarack. I don't know why I read that weirdly. Bianca accepted as eagerly too. It finally put a smile on her face. This was a win for Bianca. Bianca? I'm adding in an extra sound. It's Bianca. Oh my gosh. Hi, Serenity, Tamarack, and Kia. Yeah, she said Tamarack's Tamatak. Oh my gosh. Hi, Serenity, Tamatak, and Kia. Yeah, she said Tamarack's name wrong on purpose. Bianca met your neighbor in 6th grade when Tamarack was a little wilder. Bianca had never ever let that go, much to Tamarack's embarrassment. Unfortunately, Tamarack found the thought of asking Bianca to stop calling her that even more humiliating. One thing was for sure, though. Serenity and Tamatak was memorable. It could be a sitcom or a cartoon. I haven't seen you all day. It's lunch. Tamarack did her best literal Tamarack act. Still and silent. Put that girl in a forest and she'd fit right in with the trees she was named after. What? Have you been hiding from me? We're friends. The accusation didn't strike as an axe. More like the sharp fragility of glass. It sooner hurt Bianca than the people it was pointed at. Tamarack or Serenity or you could have avoided her, and Bianca would be powerless to do anything about that. Bianca was Riverview's gal's girl. She collected female friends as a full-time gig. All someone had to do was ruin her day. To ruin her day was 1. Be a lady, and 2. Brush Bianca off. No, I haven't. Not on purpose. We must not have anything nearby. I didn't want to bother you by showing up out of nowhere on the busiest day of the year. Same. I don't go to high school yet. Middle school's over there. Tamarack might have been making excuses, but Serenity was telling it as it was. They twisted around to look towards her side of the building. Bianca released Serenity to cross her arms again. You are so nice. She opened her eyes again, barely. But you can bother me. You should bother me. Bianca jabbed a finger toward Tamarack like you were about to witness a shakedown in the middle of the school hall. That's what friends are for. She punctuated it with a definitive stomp of the foot. In those ways, Bianca reminded you of how Tamarack used to be. What was most incredible about that was Bianca probably got those little quirks from copying Tamarack herself, when she had done them the most. Calling her Tam Attack wasn't the only thing Bianca had held on to. You recalled Bianca being more reserved, restricted when you first met. Tamarack outgrew stamping her boots and sticking her hand in people's faces most of the time, when it came to strangers anyway. But a history of it stayed alive in the people she influenced with it. You were glad to be Bianca's friend. Bianca was pretty funny. You liked when she showed up. She seriously annoyed you sometimes. You wished she'd leave you alone already. You could not stand Bianca. Bianca honestly scared you. She was lovely and pretty. You didn't think much about Bianca. She wasn't horrible or amazing. You hated she only talked to other girls. This wasn't elementary school. Kia kind of looks up to people in general. The people who like her, Kia likes. Obviously, right now, her ranking is still going to be like Tamarack and Q, and then everyone else is somewhere below them. But I think she's like, yay, friends! Hey, you could still text me, Tamarack, Serenity. We don't have to have classes together for that. Bianca did not let people off easy. This is why she had a reputation for intimidation. Few people could make the concept of keeping in touch such a high-stakes event. Sure, later. Thank you. And Kia, do you have a phone yet? When will I get your number? Oh, yes, I got a phone yesterday. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, I can give you my number. I'll let you have it, but I can't text all the time. I was gonna ask you that. Well, if you really want to, I guess I can. I'm not sure, you mumbled. Yes, you whipped out your cell phone. Perfect timing. You'd just gotten it yesterday. You held it up proudly. This is what you'd been waiting for. You brought your number up for her. Hesitating, you revealed your phone. If she really wanted your number, it was all right. Your arms hovered awkwardly. Should you? It was your lucky day. You gave her your phone with a grin. Yeah, I know it's not there yet, but I think she's going to kind of be a little more shy around other people. Like, Tamarack and she's going to keep being her exclamation pointedly self. But I think this is her around everyone else. Well, did I read them all? I did read them all, right? Did I read them all out loud? I think I did. I guess I'm gonna have to get off soon because I'm forgetting moments ago. Thanks. Bianca got right down to business. She saved your number into her vast list of contacts. I will so text you. That was enough. Bianca had a lot of friends and a lot of hobbies. Her free time was limited. She waved, her cell still in hand. I've got to get in the cafeteria. I promised to sit with some girls from homeroom today. Bye! I feel like I said bye really weirdly. Anyways, Bianca fluttered away, just like that. Or she would have if her clothes weren't stiff enough to automatically reject the concept of a flutter. The second the lunch door swung closed, Serenity snorted. She wound her voice up high and let it fly. How the H... Oh, nope, that doesn't sound right. How the heck are you spooked around that girl? She wants you to like her so bad, Tamarack. I wasn't spooked. You were something. Do you know how much she talks about the way your hair sparkles? Serenity himself got a spark about them. She had a brilliant idea. I could tell you a lot. They began to ramble, first about Bianca's opinions on Tamarack and you and them, though it didn't stop there. Serenity continued without thinking, diving into whatever Bianca knew she was aware of. Apparently, Austin, one of the many girls your age, was torn between two loves and loyalties. Bianca and Chiyu. Should you be listening to this? Should someone stop them? Side note, if you are subscribed to the GB Patch YouTube, they do sometimes little sneak peeks of some of the moments and scenes. And actually, Austin is someone you went to school with in 5th grade. There's watch the colorful class video. There's a colorful class sneak peek. Go do that. Go do that, and you'll see what I mean. You'll see Austin. But that was when Chiyu himself rounded the corner. Serenity clammed up instantly. Her lips were super glued shut. Tamarack put her hands on her hips. What were you saying about getting spooked? Serenity could only grumble out of the corner of their mouth. This is different. Chiyu is not trying to be my friend. Chiyu came closer. They didn't stop until they were close enough to have become part of your little group. They kept their hands in their pocket and mouth closed, signaling their arrival with their eyes and mere presence. Hi, thanks for coming over. Hi, Chiyu. Tamarack twisted her shoulders uncomfortably in the icy breeze Chiyu had brought. Something magical happened when Tamarack was around anybody more uncertain than she was. She could remember that Mix Chiyu then was simply the teen next door. Tamarack was throwing cashews off a bridge for Chiyu to never catch a single one in 5th grade. She knew them. Hey. Autumn's jacket-covered chest turned sideways. You're signing up for this? Their arrival had continued a stream of interruptions, but they were the first to bring things back to the original topic. They had caught you directly under the school's bulletin board. Too cool for school, Chiyu didn't have extracurriculars. The concept of that was enough to make their eyes roll. They had their bike and their ballet for after-class activities. Chiyu's interest in those started during childhood. They hadn't known what the future held, that those pursuits wouldn't be done through the high school, or that they would actively be against that possibility one day. Things just worked out for them. It gave Chiyu one more reason to focus on those rather than anything that might get contaminated by the education system. No, I was only looking. That's smart. You don't need more stuff that's going to stress you out. It's not a big deal. None of us are doing extracurriculars. They're called extra anyway. Bianca's in book club. Bianca isn't here. Actually, before Serenity could explain, everybody got it. Between the kids still trying to get into the cafeteria was somebody going against the stream, a young lady in a headband elbowing anyone in her way. Bianca was coming back? Already? You'd run into Serenity twice today too. But there'd been some classes in between then. She didn't join her girls. Bianca squared her feet a few strides away from Chiyu. Bianca wasn't impressed by them. One of the very few people who could claim that. If other students did, they kept those thoughts to themselves. Not Bianca. She got right to her dagger-sharp point. Are you joining tryouts this season? This wasn't about school extracurriculars. This was that other story. Those two dancing in the same ballet age group. Chiyu and Bianca both had years of experience under their leotards. A show was set to happen early next year, so the roles had to be cast soon. Not everyone would get to tiptoe out on stage, and even fewer would have starring roles. You'd begun taking ballet yourself. It was still new to you. You'd begun taking ballet yourself a few years ago. You'd begun taking ballet yourself and were very serious about it. You wanted to have more time with you, so you signed up for ballet. You wanted to have more time with Bianca, so you signed up for ballet. You wanted to have more time with you and Bianca, so you signed up for ballet. You went to that same place for lessons but to learn a different style of dance. You used to take lessons there, though it was for a different kind of dance, and you quit it. You never signed up for lessons at the dance hall. You just got to be a guest before. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this one because I think the classes were more for her to have a way to exert her energy, but I think she's doing more. She's doing other things now. She's not like a dancer. So I'll go with this one for her. For Leilani, it's this one. I'm actually considering putting Paisley in ballet because I hadn't really considered it before, but it makes sense. But then I probably would put her in ballet like as a kid. Yeah, anyways, yeah. Are you listening? I asked if you were auditioning for our recital, Chiyu. Bianca kept coming at Chiyu, showing the full range of her intimidating aura, flashing eyes and furrowed brows, and this time it was intentional. If this was years ago, Autumn would have had a joke up their sleeve to diffuse the tension. In 2014, they had a single word reply. Nah. All of Bianca's bluster and all her posturing, and she only got a nah. Bianca didn't just take that and run. She could stand her ground. Bianca and Chiyu were two of the most popular people in your grade, and they were top performers in their matching dance form. There were other things they had in common too, when you thought about it. They dressed in cold, muted colors. At least one person in this hall right then found one of them hard to approach. And their names started with an uncommon letter, followed by an I. That was totally superficial, kind of a stretch even. When it came to what mattered, Chiyu and Bianca were opposites. Alright, why not? Don't you want to see if you make the cut? Don't you want to perform? No, I think I just told you that. Bianca huffed from the depths of her soul. I don't get why you're even in the class if you don't want to do anything. I'm always going to be a better dancer if you don't compete. As harsh as the words were on their own, Bianca said them earnestly. You'd heard that tone of voice before, plenty of times. A lot of people had used it. Parents, teachers, friends. They had been desperate to get you to care. You'd never seen it work for anyone other than you. Including today, Chia's face scrunched. Their nose went high enough to give strangers passing by secondhand embarrassment for Bianca. Chia had their own question. Was she an idiot? They didn't ask it out loud, though. Chia was no longer a part of that conversation. To prove it, they started a new one. Or really, they pretended it was still where it had been before. Who decides all this? They smacked the bulletin board. Paper sheets shook. It sounded like kicking a bush. Why are these our options, anyway? Whereas, I don't know, lacrosse? That's a sport, I'm pretty sure. Bianca could only stand there, arms hovering outward, mid-explanation, completely at a loss. The quiet forest made of Serenity and Tamarack had nothing either, except for imaginary crickets. Don't be judgmental, Bianca. I have no idea, Autumn. You could ignore Bianca, too. Bianca, you have no clue what you're talking about. Shut up already. Autumn, you can give a tiny bit more effort than that. The principal? No, the school board? You actually didn't know. You shouldn't ignore people, Autumn. But you actually didn't know the answer to Chiyu's question. Who did decide that? It looked so pathetically funny, you tried to muffle snickers. You nodded at Chiyu's wonderings, thinking hard about deep mysteries. You could ignore Bianca, too. You, though, glared daggers at Bianca. She should shut up already. The whole interaction made you shake your head. You weren't going to be brought into this. You took a step back. You ignored Chiyu's attempt to try ignoring Bianca. You ignored Bianca, too. You grimaced. The physical pain of this awkwardness had become too much. This was miserable. Your face flushed with heat from the uncomfortable situation. Okay, so leaning towards this, but also if Chiyu does this all the time, I don't know that I feel like if Bianca is her friend, but also Chiyu's one of her favorite people, so there's a possibility that Chiyu would say this one, but she might actually be one of these two where she's like, oh my gosh, it might be that she's miserable. She's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do here. Because again, if you recall, I've said that at this point, when Kia enters high school, she's kind of slightly better at reading people, but she doesn't know what to do with her slightly in picking up her increased awareness of other people's moods and vibes. So, I think she's gonna do this one. This humiliating moment was made massively more pitiful when a pair of students cut right between Chiyu and Bianca. Hey! They were there for Chiyu, and Bianca was too short to see past their heads. You recognize the teens enough to know there are people who went to Riverview Peak for years. 90% of people there had. One had the first strands of facial hair over their square jaw. They didn't shave. They left it there proudly. The other... They didn't shave. They left it there proudly. The other wore a faded band shirt, probably thrifted. It made you think they wanted to be older than they were. Freshmen waiting to be senior. What's up, Chiyu? What are you doing out here? We're going to lunch. Want to sit with us? Chiyu's hands sunk into their pockets. The glance they gave those students dropped the temperature by 10 degrees. Go yourself. I'm serious. Just leave. Sorry. If you change your mind, you can come over. Not even a total rejection dampened their interest. They apologized to Chiyu for asking. That's what it meant to be popular. Chiyu could do no wrong. Only others could mess up with them. After the first duo scurried off, another group of students filled the open space in front of Chiyu. They wanted to ask what Chiyu was doing with that, as in the people Chiyu just shooed away. Anything they did brought more attention to themselves. Chiyu groaned with those people. When those people asked if they were already sitting with anyone for lunch or not. The entire grade was funneling into a single room, and Chiyu was directly in that path. They couldn't rein this parade away. You stopped to check on Chiyu's rejected rival. She was on the fringes of the crowd. Chiyu didn't have to pretend not to notice her now. It was genuine. She'd been forgotten. Well, bye, Chiyu. When Bianca turned to leave again, Serenity called out, Bye, Bianca! She moied, blowing a big kiss at her friend. Bianca looked over her shoulder. She smiled. You silently watched Bianca vanish into the cafeteria. More people followed. A lot more. They just kept coming. Their faces brightened whenever they spotted you. You were well liked in these halls. There were plenty of invitations to sit together for you, too. You were in demand. In between the strangers were people who knew you. You'd made some friends in school. Nobody noticed you. You weren't any different than a support beam people had to weave around. Some students whispered and sniggered. Seeing you hang out there, you were an outcast. If they noticed you, they gave you the stink eye or moved faster. You did not have a good reputation. Okay, one of these two are Ryan and Paisley. This is probably Ryan. Paisley's between these two. Leilani's this one. Which is really funny because Leilani and Ryan are close. Ty might be this one or this one. But as I've said before, Ty's friendly, but he's not everyone's friend. But like, I think he's generally fairly well liked. So I guess it could also be. Yeah. That is probably actually Frankie. But like, I think Frankie still has friends. Anyways, whoopsie doop, this one's Kia and Miles. That was good because this them before I'm reading. Yeah, there's them because they don't go to the same school as everyone until later on, where it's better, but where they were beforehand, which canonically in story this is before that because. Well, I had to move Kia, and actually a big part of her story happens in high school now. Anyways, that was good, because you hated all of them as much as they disliked you. This was exactly what you'd wanted. Their dislike gave you power. It seriously depressed you. Why do people have to be that mean? You liked it. These strangers being bothered by you existing was funny. It didn't bother you. It didn't. You totally, absolutely meant that. The way that I literally don't know if this is serious or not. I'm staring at this like absolutely, or like absolutely like this is, you couldn't lie to yourself. You wished you'd been popular instead. But you didn't think about that nonsense. School politics were stupid. You swallowed it. There was nothing else you could do but move on. You wanted to go home. You hated being there. Here's this one. Then Serenity caught your attention. They flicked their fingers at you and Tamarack. Her nails were painted yellow to match your outfit. She would be perpetually preoccupied, and Serenity was giving major hints that they wanted space away from the crowd. When the three of you moved into a side hall, Serenity found her voice there in full. Serenity, aren't you going to be late to class? I still don't get it. You should be immune to attitude. You've got experience. Huh? Tamarack stopped following Serenity. They rolled their eyes. Come on, Did you and Bianca have a fight? Wait, is that why she calls you Tam Attack? Who won? I have to hear this. Serenity heard something. Tamarack shouting. We didn't fight! The thing about Serenity was that she showed current Tamarack what it had been like to hang out with 10-year-old Tamarack. Tamarack stopped herself after one outburst. Her eyes darted to see if any male migrators were staring. They weren't. When she spoke again, it was a harsh whisper. We aren't close, that's it. Bianca probably doesn't even like me for real. Bianca made up for herself that she'll die if she doesn't act nice to other girls. You should stop looking for gossip already. Don't gossip? Are you a high schooler now or a teacher? Tamarack didn't have an answer for that question. There was one thing she did know for sure. That was where her insistence went. I'm not a little kid. The obvious implication was that Serenity was being childish, and that was the very worst thing a teenager could be. No way. Tamarack and Serenity had a stare down. They pulled their shoulders back and stuck their necks forward. Despite Tamarack being a grade above, Serenity was the same height as her. Sparks shot off as their faces pulled closer. A millimeter before they bumped noses, Serenity caved. Ninth graders are so dramatic. I'm done. I gotta go to class anyway. Tamarack pumped her arms, a celebration of being the very most stubborn. See you later, Serenity. Bye, Tamarack and Kia. They're funny. But you know, as long as it's settled, it's settled. Serenity scampered off to class. It made Tamarack sigh. The only thing left to do during lunch break was go eat. Cafeterias weren't a friendly place for the unpopular. You'd already gotten a preview of what to expect. Kia, are we getting lunch together? Oh. You turned away from Tamarack to check the status of the hall. Chiyu and whoever had been surrounding them last were gone. Had they agreed to sit with someone, or had Chiyu gotten so fed up they tried to escape and got followed? Probably that second thing. They wouldn't ditch you. Glancing at your phone proved it. There was a new text waiting. Chiyu wanted to have lunch together, if it was physically possible. That didn't sound good. We've got to go in. You joined the rest of your entire grade in the lunchroom. Oh, dang. It was an absolute free-for-all, a three-ring circus, a recipe for disaster, and whatever other term the adults in your life might throw around to describe a crowd. The cafeteria was one of the widest rooms on the campus, and it was not enough. The line for food wrapped halfway around the halls, and every table was over capacity already. You counted more than a few basketballs bouncing around. A few teens had their butts directly on top of the tables. That was better than having to eat standing up, you guessed. This was day 1 of the year, and you'd arrived late. Of course, this wouldn't be a slightly stale but still safe to serve cakewalk. Finding a place of your own or to be with your friend was impossible. Pure survival became the priority. If you didn't make it work soon, you were going to be hungry for the rest of the day. Riverview Peak might have given students generous serving sizes of mashed potatoes and meatloaf if they bought lunch there, but it was stingy with how much time students had to swallow it. Tamarack struggled to snag a seat where she'd fit in. Chiyu strained to get enough room for themselves to eat. Similar problems for opposite reasons. On a normal day, people wouldn't be happy to have you at their table. On a bad day, there were enough students already seated to stretch out and make sure you didn't have room on the bench. This was a very bad day. You ate your rations in the trenches. What should have been your best chance for the rest finished before you could catch your breath. Actually, you were more worn out than you'd started. Your remaining classes dragged like nothing else. Being trapped in a state of caution made you hyper-aware of every single second. Somehow, though, it did end. The final bell rang for the first school day of 6th to 12th grade. From now on, class wouldn't be special until the last day of the year came around. You'd expect it to be productive, not complain, and basically accept this schedule as your life. You made your way towards one of the multiple exits staring at the floor. Your footsteps bounced around the empty hall. Tamarack and Chiyu had stuff to do and things to see. That left you on your own for a little while. You're wrapping up your first day as a high schooler. Compared to your initial expectations... Okay, I'll just do this answer and then I'll get off for the day. Even though I want to finish. Riverview Peak was the same as it ever was. And that was just how you liked it. It was good to be back. Classes had been fine. Not great, not terrible. It looked like the reality of 9th grade was not at all what you hoped. Well, you know, their school is still their school. Riverview Peak was the same as it ever was. She has classes with both of her friends. Her and Tamarack have lockers next to each other and homeroom together and play class before lunch together. I think she's pretty happy, actually. Yeah. You know, there's a term I just thought of but we're going to ignore that term. I'll read this line and then that'll be that. It was a day. Moments from the afternoon spun around your mind. Classes were rough, but this is where your friends were. That would have to make it worth it. Yep, okay, sorry. I'll stop there. I'll stop there. We're stopping here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, as you can see, this is a side note here. I label all these. Okay, I've explained this before, but for my future playthroughs, I think I should. I wanted to organize this somehow. Currently, they're not fully organized like this, but because I haven't done all these. But when I get the full game, that's how I'll know where to save. So I guess that means I'm gonna have to go in with intention when I play certain ones, because these ones are kind of further out, like this one will start, like they're all gonna start like this probably. I mean, okay, there's one some that's gonna start like right off the bat, but you can what was I saying? You can change, oh my gosh, this during steps sometimes. Like this one happened during the first step when, in the prologue for step 1, Tamarack was like, we're gonna be friends forever. And he was like, yeah, best friends forever. And then they've been best friends ever since. Oh, they're both my friends. That's cute. Oh my gosh, my besties. Look, listen. As of right now, because, like, listen, I know, whoops, wrong button. Just in case I accidentally press it. Well, actually, no, yeah, it's fine. I know for a fact that Kia can have romantic feelings. But I don't know how frequently she has them. As I say with most of my characters. Look, listen. This would be so much easier if I was playing as like Ryan or Miles right now. They a lot easier. But a lot of my other characters, it's like, I mean, yeah, probably. Less probably for some, more probably for others. Like Ty and Paisley are like, yeah. I don't know how frequently though. So I guess Paisley, Kia, and Ty are all in that bubble. Leilani's a little trickier. I'm not sure that she does have, that, I don't know. It's still up in the air. But anyways, my point of bringing this all up was, if I did change my mind and do a romance route with Kia at any point, it's gonna be with Tamarack, and I think that needs to be clearly stated. which is probably great, because if I do the romance route, well, I don't want to spoil everything. No, okay, because different characters I know who they'd romantically preference based on what I know about my characters. Oh my gosh, I'm so great at words, guys. Anyways, some characters I know for sure. Other characters I'm like, I'm not sure yet. But maybe I'll know more once the full game is out and I get to experience more of the characters. I want to keep playing. It's okay. I did save, right? If I hit continue right now, it's going to be right there, right? I didn't just lose all that, right? If I hit continue right now. Okay, great. I'm going to save one more time. And I know it's right here. It's literally right here. But I'm going to save one more time because, yes. Anyways, I'll be back whenever I'm back. If it's up to my old schedule, then I'll be back on Wednesday, later in the day. I'll be back on Wednesday around this time. if I can follow my old schedule, but that's probably not gonna happen. If I do come back on Wednesday, I might actually do it earlier than later in the day. Meanwhile, hang on. nope, wrong thing. Hang on. Boop. And let me put me up here. Boop. Okay, meanwhile. Meanwhile. Okay, if I follow my schedule, it'll be today, Wednesday, Thursday, around this time is when I'd come on for those days. And then Friday in the morning, like where I started today. But I don't know if I can follow my schedule. I don't think I will on like if I can play on Wednesday, it'll probably be in the morning. Same for Thursday. In all honesty. And what I play is up in the air as well. It would normally be Long Live the Queen on Wednesday and Potion Craft on Thursday, but we will see. We will see. We'll see. But you know, if I can, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. If I can have it, what's the word? Hack it? I don't know. Then I would come back and tomorrow. If I can, I'd try to maybe finish this tomorrow. Because I want to get this done so that I don't feel guilty if I play. Okay. No, but yeah, there's that. And then, yeah. So that's that. I'll be back eventually. Schedule's up in the air a little bitty by. I don't know why I said it like that. Because alliteration. Sometimes alliteration. You just gotta repeat things. Anyways, I will be off. I'm enjoying this. Can't wait for the full game. Plans are for the full game to release sometime next year. And I will be saving for the DLC. The DLC, there's gonna be a DLC for each step. So there's step 1, step 2, step 3. Each of those steps will have a DLC. And the prices right now are guesstimated to be about, am I talking too long? Guesstimated to be about $5.99 each one. I gotta start saving because I want. Oh, which reminds me, when the full game comes out, should I start over with Kia, or should I just continue from my save after Fancy Fun? I don't know. That's what I'm debating, and maybe I'll ask around the time that the game actually comes out. I'll also give the option of my Let's Play not being Miles. It could very well be Paisley instead, which might be a little more dramatic, because Paisley's very angry in her youth. I mean, Miles is a little angry too, but he's like inwardly angry. Miles is the type of person who's like, you're not gonna know how I'm feeling because I don't want you to know how I'm feeling. While Paisley is like, if you don't know how I'm feeling, what is wrong with you? I don't know how to say that, but like, yeah. Anyways, there's that. I do have time with the other characters, but right now Paisley's on my mind. Just funny, because today was kind of a Ryan day, and I just kind of stopped talking about Ryan. If I played as Ryan, it would feel like, I mean, he could do a fully platonic route with them, but it would almost feel, oh, maybe I could just, like, it would almost feel wrong not to do a romance route with Ryan, because that's such an important part of his character, is that he falls pretty decently easily, but it's not like he's fallen for all his friends though. So, you know, it's up in the air. We'll see. Anyways, bye.